Mic check on. Yeah, now we're on. Excellent. Fantastic. Good. Let me just hold on. Yeah. Yep, text is out. Good. Let me start. My machine is going crazy. Welcome everyone. This is Betterment Broadcast. This is Rap Raven. This is the 134th show. Excellent. Fantastic. Great. Super good. All right. This is that there. Let me give me 40. I just need to send this out. So give me set. I'm just gonna put this back for 4 seconds while you hear me talk. Hold on, where's that thing gone? Hold on. Is that it? Is that it? Just give me a few seconds. Hold on. Just need to send this out. 4 seconds. I can't do two things at once. Sorry if I'm just send that this message and the links and all that stuff. I'm a bit late. Right. Almost done, almost done. Yep, it's going to give me 17 seconds. Almost there. Yeah. Right, boom. And send that. Some people might have the link. All right, we can start officially now. We're good. We're good. We're good. Hold on. Done. All right, cool. That's enough. All right, cool. Where are we? Now, we go back to the document. Fantastic document. We're going to go through it as we always do. So, starting statement, very important 3 statements. You'll find them very helpful when you try to go and help Black people. That is, when it comes to working as a collective with only Black people on matters that benefit Black issues, Black progression, and Black ownership, Black people are collectively inadequate. Very important. Remember that one. It's a very good starting statement. Keeps you focused. It's very shocking to many, but it's unfortunately the evidence is correlated, and that's where it seems to conclude. Not to worry, we shall change that. Number 2, individually, you might find a non-Black person who shows some kind of camaraderie towards Black people. However, collectively, Black people have no friends. Very important. Very important to remember that Black people have no friends. That's a very important thing. Collectively, that is. You're going to find many friends in the pub, in your workplace, all that good stuff there. However, when it comes to working as a collective group, we don't have any friends. Yeah. So you're seeing a picture being painted there that if Black people are collectively inadequate, meaning we don't know how to work as a team, and nobody's actually going to come and save us, that can only mean that maybe we have to come and save ourselves. Excellent. And the last most important statement is constructive Black man with constructive Black woman makes a constructive Black family. If you didn't know, now you know. There you go. Oh, yo. Right, so let's go through that quickly. So we're going to show the 40 values: discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. Please remember that when we communicate with our people group, our friends, our families, and all that, we can just use these 40 values, especially on the show. Very handy. It will minimize anxiety, and it will make constructive solutions more achievable, in theory. All right. Please don't use geography language. If that'll be very handy. It usually triggers people whether they know it or not. We will be playing some videos today that will have geography language, but we are using it as a case study. Never had time to mute it out and all that stuff. Sorry about that. What is Black people? Sorry, what is Black people? What is Black Betterment? Black people helping Black people on Black issues for betterment. Black Betterment is a lifestyle. This podcast promotes the lifestyle of Black Betterment. Hooray! Fantastic. Very good. So we're going to show other people's videos today. It's not ours. We've blackified them, meaning we've put them through our own kind of algorithm change or whatever it is. Nevertheless, it isn't our actual videos where we're watching it just so we can give scholarship, research, and case studying. Yeah, so now you know. All right. Don't forget the Black Betterment Building Instagram. Please tell a friend to be a friend of that particular page. That'll be super fantastically good. Oh, yeah. Right, so this is a part 2. Last week, we asked a question. We asked many questions, but we've now simplified it. Are Black men in the manosphere educated on white supremacy? Probably not. What is white supremacy? How does it work? Are they aware of any kind of any anti-Black racism or anything like that, the history of it, and and this kind of stuff, are they aware of black betterment or any kind of B1 Pan-Africanism or any kind of ideology that unites black people to be constructive? Who knows? Probably not. And next question is, should black people invent a word that means practice black economics? Yeah, this is a quick throwaway thing. We'll expand it more. I saw we've been talking about this for quite some time, but I did see I want to say an African brother. I'm not sure where. On Instagram, I downloaded this video or a video with him in it, and he was talking about the Jewish people and how they practice group economics. Sorry, so we'll listen to him, and as we listen, we'll just see. Maybe we need to formulate a word that means this, just that. So let's press play. Go.
Here's what it means. The Jews, in the Yiddish language, there's this word fargin. It's a beautiful word. Abantu abamnyama sibiza ubuntu.
Yes.
They come at it differently, but this word fargin, here's what it means. It means that if we are in a community and you're doing something, even if somebody outside the community can do it better, cheaper, and faster, we buy from you. And when you get it wrong, we come to you, so you got this wrong, fix it. Then we buy again.
That's us.
It's called fargin. The reason that's important is because now you got to understand our psychology. So what do? You start something and you sell, buy it. Then we go on social media and go, futhi phukile le nto ayisebenzi nokusebenza.
Sure.
Bekacabanga ukuthi wenzani. Futhi nalamateki wakhe mana amosheka fast. Futhi nalokudla kwakhe akusimnandi nekuyadura unnecessary. Then we're the same people that go, but why is...
So I should read, sorry, I don't actually speak the language. I should read, because I'm uploading something. Hold on. Let me go back and read what he's said in his language. I don't know what it is. I don't want to assume it's Zulu or something, because that'll be ignorant. So let's have a listen.
So what do?
What do we do? So what does he say? He said,
you start something.
Okay. So far in English. So far so good.
And you sell.
Yes.
We buy it.
Right. Jewish people, they sell to themselves. Good stuff.
Then we go on social media and go...
Oh, so now he's talking about black people. All right. So a black person has bought something from a black person. They've gone to social media, and the things they say is, this thing is broken. Doesn't even work. In his language, we assume in Zulu, but I could be wrong. If you know, let us know.
Futhi phukile le nto ayisebenzi nokusebenza.
Oh, not Zulu at all. It's completely nowhere near. I assume it's a Congo Niger language. Could be right. I'm pretty sure of it. Central, Southern, potentially Eastern.
Sure.
What the hell was that even doing? Greenway said, by the way. Even his sneaker line is low quality. They're painting a picture of black people buying from black people and not being best pleased, and then going on the internet and airing their grievances about the product that they're not best pleased with. His food is not even that great and unnecessarily expensive. So it's talking about a particular restaurant, not even that good and quite expensive. You do that to your black restaurants?
Unnecessary. Then
we were the same people that go.
But the same people that go, but why is black wealth not growing?
Sounds Zimbabwean. That's only one Sosa.
Growing. Sure. Right.
That's Shona. And that's the language. For wisdom is wealth. So why was I playing that? I was playing that the clip between two brothers on the continent. And what they were talking about is they were observing the Jewish community, and they realized there was words that the Jewish community had to represent buying from each other and supporting each other. And even if the person isn't doing their stuff, isn't at the best quality at that time, investing in it and giving advice on it and trying to cultivate it because they understand they're in the community and they want the community to grow, and they feel happy when they see another Jewish person doing well. This is something that the brother Kel was mentioning about dopamines. Like if we can, unfortunately our dopamines are being registered to seeing other people do good, and when non-black people tell us stuff, some people's dopamines, really explode with joy. But the idea is to rewire ourselves to actually want to see black people do good, and then when you see that, your dopamine's exploding, you feel good. So the effort is there. That's what this was about. So we asked the question, do we where's that thing go? Do we want? And I'm sticking the Steam. Hold on, pin this message. Done. All right, cool. Slows down my machine, but right there you go. Yeah. So what was I? Where was I? Um, yeah. So the question was, is there a value in us as a community coming up with a word that represents Black economics, something that you can has a hashtag, a meme, a campaign. I don't know what it is. This is just early days. I'll probably think of something, write something down. Could use Swahili language. You could use English language. You could use old words, whatever it is. But something that represents a Zulu or Yoruba or whatever you think is good. A word or a collation of words that represents Black economics and supporting the community. And when we say it, people know what it is because we promoted it. Just saying it there early. Right, cool. Now we put that there as a good start. Big up everyone. Big up Dominic Smith. Big up Only Sosa. Big up Kushti. Big up all the contributions as well from the family there. And feel free to jump in when you want. Now we're going to go back to the first topic. We'll return to this at some point, I assume. But let's go back to the first topic, and that is are Black men in the manosphere educated on white supremacy? Why are we talking that? Well, we're talking about because a week ago or so, can't remember, or at least last week's show. If you don't know, there's a thing called the Manosphere, so I'll break it down very quickly. Historically, there was a lot of men who weren't best pleased with what they perceived or believed women were what they call modern women were doing or behaving like. So they formed like a kind of brotherhood, philosophy and movement called the Manosphere. And you got the Manosphere and the Red Pill too. Very similar but different, and there's some others as well, like incels and this kind of stuff. But we'll focus on this concept of manosphere, and there's a whole other podcast around this idea of men improving themselves to get good women, but also holding women accountable. And obviously, it becomes very direct and extreme in some cases. But what happened is, as with many things, there was a manosphere that was for all men who have this ideology. But I think some Black men felt that their voice wasn't being heard, and maybe their particular story wasn't being said. Who knows? So there was then started the Black Manosphere. As you tend to find, you get the things happen, and you get the Black version because Black people linger at the bottom, so they have to do their own. And what happened is there was a lady called Pearly Things who entered. She's a woman, by the way, and she entered a white woman who entered the Manosphere and became a quite high operator in that kind of space. Which is quite shocking because it's usually men talking to men, and even though the Red Pill community they forbid women talking for them in any capacity, and maybe the Manosphere as well. I think for the most part, the white Manosphere, but the Black Manosphere were a bit more easygoing. They allowed a white woman to represent them because she said things that they are to help. This is part of the Black. This is also what we highlight being collectively inadequate. In this particular space, you form this ideology and stuff, and it has a purpose, and the purpose holds women accountable. But yet a white woman can become the queen of it or the king of it. So this is showing you how Black people are inadequate. You won't necessarily see a Black woman leading the white manosphere or the manosphere, but the Black manosphere can be run by a white woman. So we're just using this as a case study to show the inadequacies of Black people. Maybe the motivation behind the manosphere might need to be reviewed anyway. Because once again, we push forward the concept that construct a Black man, a construct a Black woman, makes a construct a Black family, and if that's broken down, then we push forward that there should be an emphasis to reform that. But in a manosphere, you might find some men who will go to another country, go to another people group to find a wife because they're not best pleased with the women they are, or the Black women they are. We always say, or I say, more me personally, that if you go to another community and you like the women there, then you're observing the marketing of the men of that community because the men have, they've formed the foundation of how the women should behave, and everyone's on code with that. Well, that means you have failed in your particular nest and you're going to another person's nest. Something to think about. Greetings all. So that's a quick blah 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 on the whole manosphere. Good stuff there. Make sure. Okay, good, sounds great. On the Manosphere. So last week we had a good talk. We talked for hours, and then people wanted to say more, but we never had enough time. So we said we'll continue next week potentially, and next week has come. But obviously, the stories have progressed continuously since then. Lots of things have happened. So one thing we were observing last week was a gentleman. There's two. We're looking at a brother called Sarah Garvey. It's quite known in the Speaker's Corner space, and he was the black person who kind of introduced Pearl to this white lady to the black, I guess, UK internet scene to an extent. And I think he regrets this now. This was definitely off-code behavior from a black Betterment standpoint. You definitely don't want to put all your eggs in the non-black concept if you're talking black stuff. Not that he necessarily was, although I suspect he was talking about black women in his monologues. But yeah, so obviously this has happened now, and I was going to show a video, but I didn't have time to blackify it. Can I show it? No, we're skipping for that. We'll go to this other gentleman called King Riches. I'm probably saying it wrong. And this was a Nigerian brother who well, doing a case study on him because he very, very harsh towards women. Some say black women exclusively. And obviously he's in the Manosphere space. They don't usually promote when they have girlfriends, but he's promoting he's got a European girlfriend. So that the assumption would be that's something he's most proud of. And I think his European girlfriend, who's Italian, was not best pleased with another white supremacist Italian on Pearl's show, who said that the Italians don't support him because he's racist, while he then returned and said, well, we don't support you because you're dating a black man. And then, this was, people were happy with this, and then what happened, people saw his reaction, they thought that his reaction wasn't strong enough, he should have said more against this white supremacist making fun of his current girlfriend and maybe defend black people, but he said he didn't want anything to do with this kind of racist back and forth apparently. But then I think the area of interest now is we're observing him getting angry at black women and getting angry at black men. So okay, the conclusion might be, well, why do you have so much fury towards black men and black women, but not necessarily white women who practice or who invite white supremacists on the show, and white supremacists who make fun of your current European girlfriend? So that's the kind of thing. But once again, we're just analyzing this case study. The brother isn't here to defend himself, but we shall speak. Good evening to WIM. Good evening. Good if you could jump in. I've been watching your show. Very, very impressed. And as Chronicles, King Richard said that he isn't exclusively a white woman dater, and that most of his girlfriends have been black, according to the video I saw of his. And it ends there. Yeah, I understand that, but what that correlates with that concept where you have a rich black man who goes, yo, man, I've dated millions of black women, but then he ends up marrying a white woman. But when he was poor and struggling, he was with all the black women. But when he became rich, he found a white woman. So I understand that, like, I'm sure. But then once again, in the Manosphere, they don't usually promote their girlfriends. It's usually there's a mystery about having so many women and all this kind of stuff. So when a Manosphere person promotes their girlfriend, they usually, this is big business. This is the real deal, Holyfield. Could be wrong, and they can defend themselves. But it's just, once again, I was talking from the perspective of black people and trying to find solutions to problems that people might not even know exist. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually listen to. So what one wants to observe is this brother. He didn't really say much against Pearl because obviously he's hired by her, but he also didn't say anything against the white supremacists. We're going to. This is a random video I just saw literally half an hour ago, so it might go. It might not be a full thing what we need, but I saw a video just where he's talking to a white lady and a black lady, and in the first 3 minutes, it was very interesting. Let's have a listen and let's see if we can work out what the interest was. Let's go.
But what I'm going to say is some people have both parents in their family, and I'm telling you now, the amount of domestic violence, the amount of domestic violence that is in relationships now is on the rise, and
we're talking about children.
And then just so you know, we always try to find solutions for black people, and when it comes to content people there, we always invite them to the show if they want. It's never kind of like conflict, but we do try to establish a way of operating that works in black people's collective best interests. So even though things might come across very harsh, maybe people are welcome. and we always want to form solutions. Saying that, let's play the video.
Yeah,
listen,
children in
serious.
families of domestic violence. Do you know how that affects a child?
Okay, cool.
I would much rather
saying,
no.
that's
Can I finish my point,
because
please?
you're okay.
No,
What is
it's
the
a valid
stats then?
point.
What is the stat? So of all these kids that come from some balanced homes where
Sky works
hold
in
on. I'm asking you a question.
That's a bit rude,
I'm asking you. No, but I'm asking a question.
No, on a real, I haven't checked you tonight.
Bro,
but that's
you
very
can't check
rude.
me because it's my show.
No, but that's
you can't
very
check me.
rude to say okay, cool to domestic violence.
I didn't say okay.
You
Are you
just
dumb?
did.
I did not say that.
Well, what we're observing here is King Richard is the brother there, and he's podcast. I think he's in Pearly Curl's paid studio. I think that's the deal they have. And there's a black woman and a white lady, and he's talking to the white lady about domestic abuse, and I think he's cutting her off, and the black sister's trying to jump in to protect, the black woman's integrity, and then say, you're being disrespectful. Something we do a lot. Maybe we need to review that, but let's just see where this goes.
I said, okay, cool. As in, I'm agreeing with.
And now he's somewhat agitated towards this black sister jumping in.
That's not right,
bro. Are you deaf? Are you deaf?
You should at least let her.
Are you deaf?
Finish.
Very aggressive, very strong. This is what we're talking about. That many of these black men who have this kind of I understand there's this kind of online persona and stuff, but we do say that maybe black men and black women we kind of want to not really do this. But once again, the original talking was between the European lady and the African brother, or the black and the white lady, and the black ladies jumped in to try to say, I think what you're saying is a bit harsh, and he's the best pleased with this. No, sir. And let's carry on.
No. You've jumped from one thing. You've accused me of something which it obviously wasn't, and now you're jumping to. I should let her finish, bro. You should just be quiet when I'm speaking.
No, it's the truth. I'm sorry.
Bro, then you can just go in it.
I'm not gonna go.
No, you are gonna go. What do you mean you're not gonna go? You are gonna go. You are gonna go. You are gonna go, bro. You are gonna go. No. And like Carter Michael, she is gonna go, bro. What do you mean? How you?
What I guess we're analyzing here is obviously this isn't the best kind of scenario, but there's an aggressive tone here. That's something we should work on as a community. Don't want to do that generally online, whatever. But I think what people are saying is you're seeing this aggression towards a black woman when you're talking to a white woman. But at no point are we seeing this, towards a white supremacist who made fun of your current girlfriend, or towards, I guess, the person who pays your checks when she's practicing racism. Obviously, this man can defend himself, but we'll just use it as a case study. We are trying to identify inadequate behaviors amongst black people and find solutions.
How are you gonna try to accuse me of something, and then obviously I just told you that's not what I was saying, and then the next thing you jump to, no, you should let her finish, and when I'm speaking you're still talking. Bro, listen, I'm gonna give you one more chance. Yeah, because I don't really want to kick no one off, I really don't, but if you continue to act like you are in charge here, you're the moderator, like you paid for anything here, then stop talking.
What we've observed here is the black woman has jumped in to defend the white woman, but the white woman at this point doesn't seem to be jumping in to defend the black woman. I'm sure she does it later on, but once again, that's something. And let's observe that. Let's observe that. Something. So we're just observing the interactions as we go along.
When I'm talking, stop talking when I'm talking. It's a simple thing. I have been listening, bro.
Because it is a serious matter.
Bro. I'm telling you seriously. You got one more chance. I don't know who you are or where you come from, but you got one more chance. If you carry on like that.
Now the black lady is looking at the white lady who she defended, and they're saying it's not disrespectful coming from this brother. Should we leave the show because he was talking over the concept of abuse, and I tried to defend your point. But the white lady doesn't seem, the white lady doesn't seem to be, I guess, that connected to the black woman who tried to defend her. Let's see.
It's up to you. It's up to you.
I'm not gonna lie. Right, all I've been trying to do is say a point.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to her.
I know.
See, now the tone has changed when he talks to the European lady. Interesting.
No, but I don't think that she was meaning to insult you. That's why I'm getting confused on where.
But didn't she accuse me of something though?
Not at all.
Very kind delivery towards a person who his original argument point was against, and I think he tried to demean something about domestic abuse or something like this, and the black lady tried to come and defend the white lady. It's very interesting what's going on here. Very interesting.
No, it's because I think.
Is it just me who's breaking this down? Maybe I'm completely wrong, or maybe I'm not. Maybe for analyzing black people for many years, this is the pattern I see. Who knows?
I think what's happened here is I'm trying to talk. I get cut off, and she's trying to be like, wait, let her get her point, and then because you two have been butting heads.
You two are saying different things, she said, what is it? You were talking about domestic abuse to children in
No,
in
not even just to children, but witnessing it via parents. So my point was...
And I said, okay, cool.
So it's a very calm demeanor now towards the European lady.
As in, okay, cool, I accept what you're saying. Then she accused me and said saying okay, cool to abuse is wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. No, can you acknowledge you was wrong then?
I was not wrong. But you
either it's one thing or not. Was you accusing me of saying okay, cool to abuse or not?
Yeah, I was saying okay, cool to that because I literally was like, look, she literally was about to say about domestic violence and the statistics and the effect that it has. And then
I was going to ask her the statistics.
No, you said okay, cool, but you're saying to me that I cut you off, which I apologise for. But you're not letting her finish what she has to say.
Bro,
and when it comes
I can cut anyone. Listen. You gotta understand. You gotta understand.
I think it's a very serious topic.
Talking, bro.
It's a very serious topic,
bro. That's not what the show's about. So we're gonna stick to what the show's about. You don't control this.
That is what she was saying.
Why can't you stop talking, bro? Why do you feel?
His tone automatically lowered and grew aggressive when speaking to the sister. Yep, we've observed that. So towards the European lady, is very calm demeanor, even though his original argument and disagreement is with her, and the sister jumped in saying, you're actually demeaning a very important point and you're cutting her off. And the sister then asked the European lady, the white lady, sorry, if should we leave the show because of disrespect, but the European lady did not want to leave. I don't think she's defended the sister quite well, to be fair. I don't know, maybe they've only met each other on the show, maybe they know each other since school. Who knows? But something you have to, just something you have to look at. We talked about the concept of black people going on white owned kind of like podcasts and shows or whatever. We also talk about black people fighting on historically fighting on shows. We looked at examples, case studies of Brother Muhammad Ali and Brother Sly and the Family Stone when he was unfortunately stoned live on that's high by the way on TV in America. And I think they were arguing over something, and Brother Muhammad Ali was saying we should be doing this on TV because once again, brother was on coke, but Sly at that time was high on whatever he was taking, so he didn't know. And that's something we say, like it's probably best we don't fight amongst petty things, but these things happen.
Why do you feel that when I'm talking, you must carry on talking? Why?
Because I have freedom of speech.
But this isn't your show. This isn't your thing. Like,
but you've invited me to be on here.
Yeah, so you were told the rules at the beginning, and you accepted the rules.
No,
you said that.
I'm not being rude to you.
You are being cool. You are, because what's the first rule? What's the first rule that they told you? Bruh, nah, get off, man. I'm done with you, bruv. About have fun. Have fun outside, bruv.
I just think like.
Go on.
I don't think she should have to, because the thing is, she's not. What's she done? What has she done?
What do you mean? What have I?
No,
I'm not even explaining it. I'm not talking to you because I don't know who you think you are, but you're not that person here. So you should just leave. Just leave peacefully, innit? Just calm in it. You don't have to escalate it to make it a big deal. Just leave in it, please, nicely, please.
Shall we go?
At the end of the day, like, we've been invited on here, but I'm gonna leave with her.
Alright, then leave in it. Cool, innit? Whatever.
I think it's very rude.
Just get out and turn the mics off, bro. Turn the mics off, bro. Bye. Just get off, man. I don't have no contact with you. Just get off, bro. I don't know who these girls think they are, bro. I don't know who they think they are, bro. Like, seriously. That is mad, bruv. To kick both of them off. Well, I didn't kick both of them off, but the other one's is leaving because it's a...
Well, that's right. You kick the black sister off, don't you? And that's what we're analysing, brother Rich. We're seeing a pattern of black people getting like your most fiery side, while the European white person getting your most calm side. Now, I personally can't say this is something that you're deliberately doing or your way of doing, because most black people are trained to be subservient. And we unpack that on the show. We try to reverse that. But in my opinion, from my professional history of observing black people and our people for so long, that this seems to be going along those lines, you see, where you have an aggression towards the black and, you have a preference towards the white. Oh, dear. Maybe this is just one case study. We're going to look at more in a bit.
Girl, so we have to leave with her.
Keeping in mind, this brother is dating an Italian lady who was trying to defend him, allegedly, against a white supremacist who then made fun of her. That white supremacist never got any kind of aggression or anger, or even foul words. And he's good friends with the woman who pays him, who didn't defend him on that show. And that woman is a European lady, white lady, who also I think allegedly only likes black men currently. So there was reason for her maybe to defend his honor, but she didn't seem to do it. So you kind of see like what they say is like an on code, white code, and this kind of stuff. Who knows? But one of the things, black people, we don't really have our code sorted yet, and that's what the show is about, to try to get that code sorted. And we use this as case studies, never to beat down on brothers and sisters, but to learn from shortcomings, to find some good long goings. Oh yes, let's go. So I haven't seen the rest, so I don't know where it's going to go, but there's like 2 minutes left, but it looks like he's just talking to himself for most of it. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at, forgive me, the next one will have some foul language, some colorless language. We'll have some colorless language, but I didn't have time to beep and edit my machine. I was doing work on all the other excuses that make sense. Where is it? Is it this one? Might be. Let's have a sneak peek.
He would be better off.
I have something to say on this. But by all means, there's a link. If anyone wishes to talk on this, you can type it in or jump in. There is a link in the side panel at the top. Automatically should be there, I think. This show is a community show. It isn't about me waffling on. It really is about the opinions and us trying to work solutions together. So if you wish to jump on, feel free to click in. You can always stop any video or ask or do whatever you like. But we're now going to, I think this might be, is this the next one? No, it's not the next one. I think it's this one. Let's see. Is this one? Yeah. So what we're doing today is the same brother there. Some other black men in America, they weren't best pleased with his behavioral patterns. So I guess they tried to check him, like, why are you not supporting the black cause and all the righteous stuff there? And let's see how he reacts. If there's any swear words, forgiveness. I didn't have time to edit. Wow. Let's go back. I'll pick up this brother's. This is his TV. What is it? Is it LT? What's it called? It's LT TV. There you go.
If you was here, you wouldn't do it if it's here. I promise you wouldn't. I promise you. I'm not no small guy.
I don't want to hear that. Yeah, you can say over the internet. I talk like this to everybody.
Bro, and I talk like this to everyone too. So I don't know.
Oh, he made a claim there that he talks this aggressive to everyone, and what we're trying to observe is maybe he doesn't towards white supremacists, but we could be wrong.
Who you think you are?
He's probably have videos where he's sticking it to all white supremacists and this kind of stuff, but so far we haven't observed that.
But you're talking in your bedroom. Wow. You're talking in your bedroom. You're talking in your.
Oh, whoa! Did I invite? Yeah, he has invited. Let's make sure.
Yeah, LTTV, Black Talk with LT, back at it with another video. All right, so let's get right into this one.
And I said, so are you saying that just Pearly Things Network has up?
So we're gonna skip this Sorrow stuff. We've got some of them there. Let's go straight to the King Richard stuff, which is looks like it's here. I couldn't find the original, so I've had to use someone watching this actual title.
Okay, hold on. I think this one gets better.
All right, man. Take care, bro. I appreciate you. All right, next caller. We got a lot of people waiting. Let's bring them on. Yo.
What up?
What's going on?
Yeah, I'm not here to coddle to your feelings, man. I'm sitting here like maybe I missed something because you're defending Pearl. Jesus, and you're talking about black men, but you're not even defending yourself.
How did I defend Pearl? Tell me exactly what I said that
exactly.
You want to hear? Okay. What you did was you brung up how Jerry Springer had this on his show.
Okay.
I did a reaction video.
Is that a lie? Is that a lie? Is that a lie? Is that a lie? Is that a lie?
So we're observing the brother King Richard. We wish him health and prosperity. We're using it as a case study to see potential black people in the Manosphere, just black people in general, but the Manosphere seems to have a lot of black people who are quite subservient, at least from an optic standpoint, towards white people who practice racism, but are very aggressive towards black people who have a different opinion or are not best pleased by their lack of reaction to anti-black racism. So we're observing that.
He pushed back.
Is that a lie, though?
He pushed back.
What they're saying is, I think they're trying to use an example that the Pearly lady should be considered like Jerry Springer, who was a Jewish person, who, even though he's Jewish, he lets the Ku Klux Klan and these kind of people come on his show. And I think that's what King Rich says. Yes, it's like Jerry Springer, but I think the brother's saying yes. But this is between Pearly and Jerry Springer. Is Jerry Springer actually pushes back and says, I disagree with this, or this is not correct, why do you have these views? It's not correct, all this kind of stuff, right? So I think that's the way he's trying to break down that analogy as a false one.
He doesn't get it. He said
he doesn't get it.
Is that a lie?
Maybe he does get it, and it's just not doesn't really working what he wants to do.
Don't get it. That's a defense. You're trying to justify the things that you deem that she did right. How do you not understand that that's defending her?
Bro,
that's my point.
Bro. First of all, you're not gonna scream at me on my own show, because you wouldn't do it if you was here. You wouldn't do it if it's here. I promise you wouldn't. I promise you.
We're seeing that aggressive, that kind of aggressive tone towards another black person. Very interesting.
No small guy.
I don't want to hear that. Yeah, you can say.
He's now doing the whole macho thing. The size and the stuff.
That shit, I talk like this to everybody.
Bro, and I talk like this to everyone too. So I don't know who you think you are. But
so
you're talking in your bedroom. You're talking in your bedroom. You're talking in your bedroom.
Oh, yo, this is ether, bro. What's going on here?
Like this everyone too. So I don't know who you think you are. But you're talking in your bedroom. You're talking in your bedroom. You're talking in your bedroom. You're
forgive the swear words.
Grown man, you're.
Well, what I would say to black people as well is what you want to do. It's very challenging. Is when you go on any kind of panel, is you always want to make the information speak for you. So if we can control our anxiety and emotions, then we're best pleased, because it then becomes an anxiety fest with shouting and screaming. Try to be calm. Remember, it might take years to learn how not to get triggered by just the everyday challenges of black people, but it is possible if you just put the goal in your mind and know that you're here represent the people group, and it's all case study. Yeah. So obviously, when people shout, it goes somewhere else. But let's try to listen. What the brother was saying is, this aggression you're showing me, why do you not show it to the white supremacy made fun of your European girlfriend? Big up Eastside the Black Telect. Welcome, brother.
Peace and blessings, bro.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah.
So I was actually on the same panel with you a few days back, but I had to jump off for a meeting. But I think it was another show where they were talking to one of the ladies involved in this kind of fiasco. Auntie, is it Jenny? Jenny. Yeah, and I asked her one question, and I was going to ask her more, but I had to leave. But I remember you were there, and I think you asked some good points. I think you were talking about suspecting that Pearly might harbor racist views towards black people, and I think most of the people on that panel kind of disagreed with your stance on it. But that's what I remember before I left.
The issue was that everything I said was within the context of what I said first.
Right.
Which was, she comes in as though she's a friend to the people that she's around, Jenny, this guy, Sarah, etc. So as if she's learning, and she's trying to help in a way, and we're all going to mingle and sort this problem out together. And my whole issue was, number one, the cause of the breakdown of, let's say, the white family in America and the UK is not the same as the cause of the black family in America and the UK. And the problem there is that her people are the cause of the problem of us, of our breakdowns. So that there, everything I said subsequent to that, i.e. her dad's a millionaire. So therefore she's going to understand, when you get into that level of money and so on, you're going to understand how to look at different people's, and how to exploit them, the benefit of this, advertising, whatever it is. You're going to have knowledge about how this thing works. Yes. She used that knowledge, got with her boyfriend who's got, millions of subscribers. I don't know if you know about that previous boyfriend that was on YouTube.
Is it a black guy or a white guy?
No, a black guy. She said, also what she said was, she's had 3 black boyfriends.
Yes.
And all of them left her for black women. So one thing that's very consistent is that she almost has an orgasm every time she gets the opportunity to talk down to our black sisters, or finds a black male talking down to black sisters, or black sisters arguing. Do you see what I mean? It's like, this is the highlight of all of her shows. Just that you can see that sadistic streak, that devil sadistic streak, just, lighting her up. Do you know what I mean? This is that, she's really feeling it. Well, so as I was saying, when I was on the show, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
What I was saying, when I was on the show, everything I said, when I said about the father being a millionaire and, whatever she's doing, it was always put away from the context that, well, if she wants to help, she would recognize that whatever solutions they're providing to help and assist, let's say, feminism and how it's destroyed, the white family, it's not going to be the same as ours. Do you know what I mean? So every time somebody brings that up, she tries to shut it down, or let someone else shut it down. It's always the case. And this is the thing. I was like, I couldn't believe it when the person whose channel we was on literally went to a dictionary to find out the definition of racism. So, for instance, if a person who's black does the same thing as a white racist and says the same words and hates his people, are they racist? And I'm like, I just couldn't believe these questions were coming from that person.
I wasn't surprised, and big up to those brothers there and sisters. But the thing is, what I'm currently trying to do is have like a reaction words to, and what I've got to is understanding that what they're doing is they're giving false equivalencies, and it's and the words I'm looking at is like unethical, error-prone false equivalencies or black sabotaging false equivalencies. There needs to be a word that when you compare black people to white people after the discussion is black people doing better, that actually shuts that down, because it's actually a strategy, a very good strategy. As in, what you do is you convince people that black people and white people are in the same boat, and then you go, well, if we're in the same boat, why is all the black people working together? Should they be working with us, like it's happening with Pearl, right? And then they shut that down, and you make black people, because black people naturally are subservient. You get people feel, you're right. It is racist if you try to focus on yourself, or you highlight something that someone else does, or what it might be, right? I always say as well, name calling. The reason why it's very important, brothers and sisters listening, right? And this is why control of your emotions is very important. The issue with name calling is these two issues here. One, it's not nice, and two, it can be used to undermine black progress. So what I mean by this is when you go into these spaces and you go, you this, you that, you have names to describe non-black people who might do things that isn't descriptive. It's more like a prejudice kind of word, whatever, right? That will be used as a false equivalency, like, okay, you're practicing racism just like they are. And then it will no longer be about what they're doing. It'll be like, but you're a racist. And then you'll have a 2-hour show about you being racist and can you be racist. It's hard for black people not to do this. When we start this show and we say, do not use strong languages, it isn't because it's Little House on the Prairie. It's because there are strategies to undermine black progress that's very effective. And if you love black people and you want to see us progress, I can give you strategies that I use that I find very effective. And one is, when you're trying to find solutions for black people, do not use derogative language towards anyone, any group or anyone, because that will be the primary conversation. Yeah, and it will take up all the airtime, and then it'll be, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, good night, and nothing will be concluded. So when you're not swearing because you're soft or you're hard or you're being controlled. You're not swearing because it's a good strategy to help black people progress. Put the needs of black people's collective needs before your own personal flavoring. You see, I understand you're free and you want to swear because it's cool and fun. It sounds good. I get it. But when you start doing that in certain spaces, that will be the primary. Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. We have to play chess. People are like, what we want to play drafts, we want to play checkers, we want to play Connect Four. I understand it. They're fun, but you must play chess. So if you can, brothers and sisters, that's why when we start, I've started all 134 shows, whatever it is, with do not use derogatory terms. In Speaker's Corner, do not use derogatory terms. Do not name call, because they will use it for you and they will be the primary. So just for those joining now, I'm talking to Brother Issa the Black Intellect, and we're talking about the same situation where we're observing this white pearly gates, white pearly. What's it called? I'm getting
pearly white things. It was pearly white things, but she's got rid of that title now. It's just pearly things.
Of course, yeah? Very good strategy. Very good strategy. And what we're saying is, for those that don't know, there was racism practice on the show, and there was a gentleman on the show who was dating a European lady, Italian lady, and the racist made fun of the Italian lady, and people were asking why didn't he get angry at this racist, and we're observing him today get angry at the black people asking him this, and also black women. So we're trying to observe is some black people, they have more fire for black people than non-black people. We want to also welcome Fee Holy Trinity. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Are you up to speed on this whole pearly white gate? Why keep saying pearly gate? Pearly white situation.
I am. Good night to everyone. Good night in the chat. I did see everything that's going on, and I did see your stream last week as well.
Oh, excellent. Cool. So this is the part 2. So we're just going to carry on watching this. So what was everyone was cut, but there's a gentleman who's rang in to tell King Rich's he's not best pleased that he isn't defending black people, and he should have said something to the black supremacists, and also maybe say something towards Pearly, who's his current boss. And let's play.
You're a grown man. You're a grown man sitting. You're a grown man. You're a grown man sitting in your room.
Now, what this fellow was joining, they was just screaming at each other. I would say that whenever you want to talk to a black person, do not scream and shout. Do not have any anxiety. Put your own personal views to the side and think of the collective, and just put the points forward, because that will then dominate the whole show. Let's carry on listening.
Screaming at someone younger than you. You're a loser. You're a loser. You're a loser. Get off your block. Go get off your block.
This is very normal in Speaker's Corner and debates with black people. Unfortunately, we're very easily triggered, and hopefully within this show we can learn how not to be that. Hopefully, when you observe me in when I debate, I don't go off on one. Isn't because I'm this real cool control kind of person. It's because the strategy is to actually help black people, and when you're screaming back and forth, you won't be doing that. You'll be doing the opposite.
I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you because I'm not in my bedroom. I'm not in my bedroom. You are, and no one can hear you. This loser going crazy over Jerry Springer. Loser. You would never in your life say that to me. You wouldn't, bro. You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
You're an old man, bro. You're an old man in your bedroom screaming at someone younger than you and
there was a question I was going to ask. So I was on a panel with another of the ladies who's defending Pearl, one of her employees, an old lady, a very, very, very charming old lady, elderly lady. And I was going to ask her a question and before I left. And the question I was going to ask her is, are you educated in any form of pro-blackness, Pan-Africanism, B1, or any kind of liberation theologies or anything? And what it is many of our brothers and sisters are not actually educated on any kind of ideology that is based upon improving black people. So when they hear some of this stuff, or they just react in either a negative way, or they go by the predetermined programming of the world, which is subservience, you see. So that's why he shows us these questions, because you have two different people from two different worlds, i.e. a person who's aware of the challenges of black people and wants to actively do something about it, and those who've probably got used to a very challenging situation, but it becomes normalized and it just becomes everyday. So there is no drive to change it, and to confide with it becomes very appealing. And some of us do it by working for joining families of other people groups, and then when you do that, what we observe is you are more likely to defend those people groups who might practice racism, and we're observing that here, you see. And what we saw was Pearly and white supremacists. They were on code. They never challenged each other. They're very kind. He even said to him, he said something like, "Oh, I don't want to get you in trouble by asking your opinions," and this kind of stuff, right? And even though this woman loves black men, when he made fun of the concept of white women being with black men, she never jumped in. So it was a nice on-code behavior. What we're observing here is off-code behavior, where black people are fighting, and then we watched another video where he was shouting at a black woman who was actually defending the white woman, who did in return defend her. A lot of things we're seeing here, we're just observing this, we're just trying to be better. That's what we're doing. Let's carry on watching.
Than you, and probably got a bigger willy than you.
Oh dear. So I don't know how old this gentleman is, but but once again, the Manosphere, they might have a different way of doing things. A lot of the Manosphere, a lot of them, and they'll say to themselves, many are not really around women like that, and they might engage in behavioral patterns that demonstrates that. So achieving manhood and stuff like this, and sometimes these kind of things might make sense to them, comparing genital sizes and stuff. I don't know.
What? Stick together. Pause. Knows he can have it. Pause. You see what I do when I got the rock. Pause.
Let me just put this in real quick.
This is Daniel, by the way.
This nigga just had to sprinkle a little bit of zest on that comment. Like, why did you have to do that, sir? You could have just left the zestiness out of this.
Serious thing, so you can scream all you want, bro. You can scream all you want, because I've probably done more and banged more chicks in your country than you ever have.
Yeah, so once again, this is the kind of low energy kind of challenge that, what we want black men to do whenever you're competing with other black people. What I recommend is you can ask, I've been on many shows, and usually when I talk about black economics and black Betterment, they just try to shoot it down. And I said, well, you know, if you don't want to collaborate, you can always compete. Because I would say that, you know, you can collaborate with me and we can both help 2 million black people, or I can help 1 million and you can help 1 million, and you can use the success I do to motivate your success. So if you ever want to change a black person, just challenge them to helping black people. You don't need to talk about genital sizes, how many Europeans you've had sexual relations with, what it might be. You can literally just say, you know, how much have you built, brother? Because I've built a bank and a hostel, or whatever it is. Have you got anything? I've got a podcast dedicated to helping black women find something, whatever. And what have you done? I go, oh, well, actually, I've done so and so. So if we can make it more about that rather than, you know, genital sizes and this kind of thing.
So how do you feel about that?
Yo, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I mean, looking at these things, you know, these various problems we have.
Yes.
I'm saying, isn't it about time we draw a line on one side, or draw a line in the middle,
yes,
and say everything we engage in, no matter what the subject is, it has to have a pro-black stance of the progression of our collective of people. Even if you have, well, you know, the native black Americans, however you want to put it, but it's still black.
Yes.
And I'm saying whatever whether it be sports, whether it be economics, marriage, manosphere, so-called feminism, whatever it is,
yes,
if it's not from the black paradigm, then it's cooning. And I know you don't like some of the certain words. We can put it in a polite way, however you want to put it, monkeys, whatever.
Well, here's what I'll say. We've got that already. So we've well done on what you said, bro. Very, very inspirational. We've got that. We've got a codified variant of what you're saying already. And what it is, we use the term synchronized and unsynchronized. So you're either synchronized with black Betterment or you're unsynchronized with black Betterment. Also, what I'm pushing forward as well is a way of speaking where you say there are two types of people, you know, when it comes to building. There's those who I'm going to work with and those I'm going to work on behalf of. You see? You let them know that because of their behavioral plans, I can't work with you directly, but I will be working with other synchronized brothers and sisters on your behalf.
Okay, here's the issue I suggest. When you say that to me, who from since 15, let's say, have been into my Rasta Hebrew Israelite Nation of Islam pro-blackness, so it's been all the time. When you say that to them, man, they're going to be like, you know what, bruv? Me shotting this and shotting that is making me better, bruv. I can look after my family. I can take my mum out of this ends and blah, blah, blah. Me spitting these lyrics about black people killing each other and whatnot and disrespecting black women, you know what I mean? I'm getting better. I'm saying the certain terms we use, they get to the heart and the crux of the issue.
No, I agree with you. Let me just jump in. I agree. So I know that if you were to use certain things like coon, sellout, pickaninny, I understand that it affects. It's much more sharp. But what I'm saying is, it's almost like every community has like a priesthood, or a monkhood, right? Where when you're amongst it, it has to be at the highest echelon of respect. Yeah. Black Betterment is dabbling in that territory. So even though you might do it, that can never be on a documented paper where you read a black person says something, call them a coon. Let them know that they are reminiscent of an ancient racist term to describe black people in the American South, right? So what I'm saying is that's why. So if you like, let me give you an example, right? There's some Buddhist guys who live in the mountain, and they have a philosophy where they're not allowed to touch the dead. Yeah, they're not touch the dead, and they're not allowed to cut anything up. Now, because they live in a mountain, they can't actually bury the dead, right? So they're in a predicament. So what tends to happen is they have to feed their bodies to crows. This is what they do in this particular mountain, right? So, but they can't do anything because they're not allowed to cut up bodies. It's against their belief. So they get a person who's not one of their mountain people. He's from a village. He comes up and just chops people up and feeds to the birds. Yeah, as in he does that. It's got nothing to do with them because they can't do it. When you look at the Jewish community, they also have similar sort of kind of process where there's a thing that they can do and others can't do. Yeah? Or they can't actually promote. I can't see it being constructive for us to have derogatory terms used to describe unsynchronized people. Well, when we use unsynchronized, the reason why it's important is because what we're saying is there's a way of behaving that works in black people's collective best interest. and some people are synchronized with it, and some people are not synchronized with it. From my observation, when you do this and you create that kind of gang or collective of people doing well, that becomes the marketing norm, and not being a part of that becomes an insult. Not that I want it to be, but that's what actually happened, right?
I hear you, bro. But you know, let me tell you what would happen if that became a mainstream term. They would actually incorporate the term unsynchronized and put it into their thing of whatever lyrics they're using. So, for instance, drill music, whatever nonsense they're talking against our people, they would use. Because I'm saying, while we really have these terms, sellout, coon, whatever. But anyway, I think you basically said on paper, like, we have to have the high standard of speech, and maybe the lower, you know, when we get into the riffraff, we can use it. I'm just saying, as you can see, a man who's got quite a lot of following of black people, basically you can say is a representative of black people in the so-called black manosphere, right? This is the way he behaves, and this is the way he talks. Okay, so I'm saying the people watching him, and even him himself, is on that level. It has to be, and he's been called it. In fact, you know what I mean, a coon. He's a sellout. Nothing he says when they're addressing these issues says, well, there's a clear separation between the cause and the solution to the black family and relationship breakdown, and white people. They've got their, whatever caused it is their issue, and whatever caused ours is their issue too, because they're part of the bloody the problem. You get me? But one of the things, before I forget, let me just say this. I've watched a brother called Mike TV, right? And Sarah gave a little bit of the information on what Pearl has been doing, right, in regards to the party. And apparently the manager is the same manager as what's that sister? Do you remember her name? Candice Owens, right?
Yes, right. Yes.
Now think of this. We've been told how in the rap game in America, they will have these guys drunk or drugged doing certain things that they will not want people to see. And they use it to blackmail them. Okay. If this is the case, then it seems she's come here with this agenda, right? With this man, because I'm saying that focus on the manager, so he knows the way that things are done all the time and have been done going way back when. So all of these guys that we're thinking are big gangsters and blah, 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 they've actually got something on them. That's why they don't speak out and say what's going on. And then a few do speak out here, there, and everywhere. Do you see what I mean? But then they get reined back in with this, you know, we'll tell them this and we'll do that and get, for instance, they might get a guy, send him a young lady who looks like she's in her 20s. He's now half drunk or drugged up. He now has relations with that young lady. Find out she's underage. His manager says, you know what? Don't worry about it. We're not going to say anything about it. He then tries to go out of line and they say, oh, you remember that young girl? Boom, boom, boom. We could put you. Do you get what I'm saying? So they've always got something over there.
I hear that. And we will unpack that in a bit. Before you carry on, we're joined by Fee, Holy Trinity, and Empress Kush. We have two sisters on the panel. So we always like to hear their perspective. Make sure, and sisters, when you want to speak, just let us know. You can jump in at any time.
I wouldn't mind going just briefly. Hi, everyone. Just to say that I used to listen to King Richards probably back in 2021, and it was a completely different person to what you're seeing now. There was me and other black women that used to go on the in the panel and listen in the chat. And it was quite a fair and balanced conversation. And he actually seemed like he knew and was really clued in on race and aspects around race. He would talk about IR dating and why it's very difficult for black men. And just in terms of other types of women, understanding where they're coming from. So for me, this is a complete 180. And I haven't really watched him since he's joined this conglomerate that he's now a part of. One thing I will say about Pearl, and something that was brought to my attention through another content creator, is that she has a video, Equal Lefts and Equal Rights. And on that video, the thumbnail is a picture of, infamous picture of Rihanna with her face, well, we've all seen the picture, but with her face badly bruised after her altercation with Chris Brown. And then she's also got Chris Brown in the same thumbnail next to her. Now, to me, it makes me wonder what message is this woman trying to promote? And I didn't actually know this until this person brought this to my attention, but I just find it very, very troubling. And I think that people like her, they're seeing what's going on in the Americas, and they're trying to bring that behavior over here between black men and black women. And I just pray to God that kind of the amount of violence that we're seeing in terms of femicide, harming of children, doesn't really reach our shores. And I just wonder what her end goal is and what her incentive is, because while she's going to be in her 30s swanning around in a Cotswolds or the Midwest, wherever it is she comes from, we as black people are going to have to be picking up the pieces, and this will be just all a figment of her imagination. So I just want to know what this person's end goal is, and where she wants to go with this. So I just wondered what your thoughts were on that, and whether you'd seen that video about equal rights and equal lefts. And I think what she's saying in it is that she's promoting the aspect of men and women abusing each other. I haven't watched it, but from the imagery and from what I've heard from other content creators, and it being the face of a bruised black woman and a black man, this seems to be what she aims to promote and bring over to this side of the pond.
Yes. Before I jump in, well spoken, and I have seen that. And just to quickly add to it, the issue we have with the white lady in this kind of space is when you look at all her thumbnails, her primary target seems to be black people. So when she's making all these comments, you're seeing black people in lowest form, as in in the most vulnerable state, used as a thumbnail, a caption, or a quick click. So this is what we talk about optics, and some people don't understand why optics are important. But what we have to understand is back in the 50s and 60s, it was against the law to have a black man strike a white man on TV. This was across the pond and here. And that's because the optics, it painted a picture that the European man didn't want people to see because it might put them in a vulnerable state, blah, 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 this kind of stuff, right? So optics are important, very important. But we are joined by Empress Kush. Anything else to add, sister?
Yeah, bless our family, bless up the panel. Yeah, I just think that what the sister said there was very powerful, and I was really surprised actually to hear about his history, that that he was quite balanced, and that he must have come across so for sisters to have been able to come onto his panel and spoken to him, and how I was even shocked when the sister said that how he was talking about IR dating and how complicated that could be, because he's because I didn't see him before, I can't even imagine. But I mean, it just goes to show, because I feel a lot of them are showing their true colors and bowing down for money and doing what they want to do for money, and letting go of any cause that they try to promote, which is just sad to see. I did want to say though that I do think that her end game is basic. The part that really got me is what Sis said, is what I've kind of been thinking recently, especially because I think her end game is to now go into the far right, or the alt-right, or whatever that is in America. I think her inviting that guest was just her trying to break the ice and give some sort of signaling. I think that when I looked at her videos today recently, I've noticed that her thumbnails have started to change into white women. Like for the last couple of ones have been like white women, and I just think that the sad truth is that I think that she just used the black community as just like every other entity that we have that they can use us for, they do. I think she just literally used it as a stepping stone to get the numbers, and she will dash them away and now become alt-right. And what's so sad is that she really will have left a lasting kind of imprint, whether it's in the manosphere or we don't know what effects that will take to the young people who are watching this and doing relationships and cause damage, and that's what makes it so disgusting. because she will go on now and probably not even care. This will just be a stepping stone. She might even be embarrassed. You know, when she gets to where she wants to go, she'll probably end up deleting all of these, what we're talking about now. It'll just be probably of the content that she wants to do. Meanwhile, she is left so much, you know, destruction and confusion in her wake, and it's just disgusting that it's just allowed to happen like this.
I agree. It's absolutely disgusting, and she's just the Miley Cyrus of YouTube at the moment. She's just going to leave such, you know, but she doesn't care, and you know, neither does anyone really. But I'm just afraid that the kind of rhetoric that we're seeing over in America, which is very scary, and these kind of talking points, is going to, you know, have a lasting imprint on the people here. And while she's swanning around with her 2.4 children, as I said, in the Cotswolds or the Midwest, you know, we'll be seeing black women getting attacked in public. I mean, is this what she wants? I mean, she probably enjoys it. She probably enjoys the blood sport, but it's not very good news for us, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
No, sorry, bro. I was just going to say quickly. It's not just the rhetoric or just someone saying something on the internet. Like what Sis says, in America, this has turned into real death. Like the femicide on black women is real. We really don't want, because what scares me, like what I said last week, is how much the British black men have attached themselves to this.
Yes.
And I don't think they know what they're doing, attaching themselves to this. Because it looks terrible, right? So they're still attaching themselves to it. And what's eventually going to happen is inevitable, is that they will start playing this out, because this is what happens in America. So we really don't want it. It's not just disrespect of black women on the internet. If you actually look at what they're actually dealing with over there, what they're doing to their own kids, like, it's crazy. You know, like, you know, so we really don't want that. And the fact that she could just, like what the sis said, just move on and it will be an afterthought, is just shocking.
Before you jump in, hold on, bro. 4 seconds. So you jump in. I was going to say this point. I was trying to look on her page. When you go on pages, you can usually arrange by date, but I couldn't see on page. I don't know if she got rid of it, whatever. So I struggled. It took years, whatever, because she releases a lot of content every second. But I got to the bottom, and like a lot of the stuff that she started off with was like her reviewing things and like very social media based activities. And I think what it is that there's a lot of people, they want to be famous on social media. They want to come up on social media, and it's by any means necessary. And I think this is an easy option for so many people, and it's very easy to infiltrate black men's spaces, especially if you're a white woman. Because when you break down the manosphere is holding women accountable, men sharpening each other's wits and not being deceived and tricked. This is what they push forward. But they have a white woman at the head of it. So already something seems, and I see this pattern through many black men, and that's why we have to have a code of rule set, black only. Because when you have that rule set, then it minimizes these kind of confusions. But Brother Isak wanted to say something. Go ahead, brother.
What was the last thing the sister said? Sister Impressed Crush. She said something. Whoever spoke. Sorry.
I was just saying that how scary it is about the femicide situation in America, and how British black men are adopting the same culture in America. And
that was it. Sorry, yeah. So what I'm saying is that basically, again, the so-called manosphere is run by, or started by, you can say, white males, for white males. And again, the unfortunate, whatever you call them, coons, whatever you want to call them, want to attach themselves to white male thinking and find, we're going to follow whatever they say is a solution to our problems, as if they're the same. So you can say, well, sometimes, our black women sometimes have followed white women in their ways and so on. But at the end of the day, if it's not black rooted, if every conversation is not black centric, then as far as I'm concerned, it's anti-black. It's as simple as that. And you're seeing that manifested, because she herself is following. People keep saying she's trying to imitate Kevin Samuels. but that's not true. It's a group or a team called Fresh and Fit. She went on their show to podcast, and she imitates them in everything, the way of questioning, how it starts, and also what they call Frank Castling, which is the kicking out. And she acts all tough and get out, and all of this stuff, which doesn't really fit her character, because it doesn't look like she could back it if any girl went to thump her in her face. So the Fresh and Fit, at least the man's got a strap, and they might be able to get up and do something. But the way that she's carrying on, it's just because she knows there are men that have left the team, so to speak, sellout coons, whatever, that she's got around them. We're hoping, Brother Sarah has come out and told us a lot what's going on. It's unfortunate he didn't see it beforehand, but as our brother here is saying, we need to, for me anyway, they would have to have the qualifications historically of Jane Elliott, where they've put in all of this work for pro-blackness in their own community before they can even humbly be on the show and be talking. But what can't be accepted, and this is the real problem for me, is where you've got a white woman talking down to black women, regardless of how much we might disagree with her point and whatever else. That should not be online anywhere, on any panel, whatever. That shouldn't be happening. And for me, that's, this is showing the level of the unfortunate coon state of mind of our black men. It just shouldn't be happening.
It's all right if I just come in on that.
Go ahead.
Number one, it's like a pleasure. I just want to say I want to big up all the brothers that are in the chat and on the panel. It's good to see black men just unified and, just talking truth and saying what they're meant to say publicly. So it's nice to see that. It's a breath of fresh air on this place called YouTube. But I just wanted to ask you something, Brother Isa. The stream that you mentioned before, Mike something or something, they said that
Mike TV, yeah.
Yeah, I literally saw it randomly. It came up on my feed. I saw it before Brother Raven was live. And I saw that. But when I was listening to him, I don't know. For me, I'm uncomfortable with the rhetoric of we've got to save Brother Sarah. Brother Sarah came and now he's the savior and he exposed everything. I think we're kind of falling down the path of okie dokie. Like, if we're going to be real with this and we're going to talk the truth, Sarah is started, those who knew about Sarah started pro-black, yeah? And I'm talking RBG. He puts his surname is Garvey, right? Okay. Then Garvey, yeah, went on to her panel and was literally the number one, yeah, finish off the sentence for her. And now he didn't like a contract and now he exposed her. Say what you want with that, okay? No. And now, all of a sudden, he's managed to change the tide and it's this Sarah Garvey that's just outed Pearl. Like, I'm not sure about that. It's like, why can't we just have strength across the board? If you've got, like, I mean, I get it. It was hard enough to get brothers to, like, bun fire on Pearl. Like, I get it, yeah? And this is what I'm saying. This is why I wanted to shout you out first, because you know it's ain't directed at you, bro, yeah? But I can't act like I can't see. I can't act like I can't think.
Can I just say something before I forget it? It's quite important. On her show, they was talking about something to do with slavery or whatever it was, and it was a normal show, like where he's just talking about the male-female aspects. And I think it was about slavery, and he literally said, "You can't talk about this" to Pearl. He said it in such a blunt way, and he smiled and carried on. So for me to personally, because remember, I've known him for like 8 years.
Who said that to who? Sorry.
To Pearl. They were talking about race, either slavery or racism or something, and I think it was even black women, something, that subject. Hopefully I can find that clip. And it's literally blatantly like, it was a normal show, right? And it was about 5 to 10 people in there. And he said you can't talk on this. And then he went on to speak, and it was either black women or black women in slavery or something like that.
I think I know the clip you're talking about. Okay.
So I'm saying, it seems what he's been trying to do is get try and sway, because trust me, it's hard for us because we have to deal with people like this rich guy. And remember, with us, it can very quickly turn into blows. Very, very quickly.
So when you say us, you're talking about the black man, yeah?
Yeah. For black men, it can very quick, like, if, as the brother says, if we use certain language, it would just, they're not listening. So it's kind of like you have to literally go down the road with them and then say, you see that, brother? You see that? Yeah, did you see it? You literally have to hold their hand like children. I'm telling you, these guys, like, they're on some other something. So when he's doing that, when I saw him do that to her, I thought, okay, this is a Sarah I know. Do you see what I mean? So
yeah, let me jump in. Let me jump in. So obviously I've met Sarah. We used to speak in Speaker Squad. And Sarah's got two things going on for him. One, he's very media trained. He's a history of acting and being in the media and understanding. He's very well polished. And two, he has been seen promoting black ideologies of varying kinds. So we always want to be kind and correct, and we always offer every brother to jump in and give their sense. But I think the sister's correct in saying that this woman has become known in the UK circles and the black circles via being next to him for the work he did. And that is something that a conversation has to be had. Like, what was
Are you sure though? I'll be honest, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true, because she became famous off of Fresh and Fit. She went on there and she blew up off of that.
Well, how when it comes to media strategies, what up and coming podcasters tend to do is they hang around people from different kind of areas and walks of life, and then they grab their actual fan base. Last week we were looking at this. If you look at the screen, so this is Jess Pearl. This is her subscribers at 1.38 million, and she's been active since 2020. But she's only been doing this Manosphere thing for like a year or so. The person who she paid money to teach some stuff from was Kevin Samuels, and he was seen as the godfather of the Black Manosphere. And he had 1,720,000 when he died. But if you look at all these other people, here's a UK-based Manosphere who were connected to the incidents, and there's the USA who are connected to do similar things. And you'll see that they've been going much longer, but she trumps all their stuff completely. Even if you were to collect them together, I mean,
she bought them. You can buy subscribers, bro. Yeah.
Okay,
if not just that, what they can do is they can get people to mass create accounts and then get them to subscribe. Okay, this is.
I'm not denying that. I'm well aware of those strategies, but what I'm saying is, despite that, she is more prominent than all those people in the UK and US. Would you agree with that?
100%. But that guaranteed. That's why Fresh and Fit, guaranteed.
Maybe, but
not Sarah.
No. But what I'm saying is, the point I'm trying to make is Sarah. He might have had 20,000, 40,000, whatever it be. He has a certain kind of outreach to a certain kind of community. That when he is appearing with her on his channel, her channel, that algorithm is picked up by us. So we are now aware of her through him. And if you follow Sarah, the assumption is anyone he stands with, who's friendly with, and they're back and forth on a consistent nature, this is a person that could be trustworthy as it pertains to watching information and then jumping ship. You see,
I suggest to you that's not. I guarantee you, I agree with you to the degree that it will come up and blah blah blah. But the only people that would look at Sarah's thing and then go to her thing would be the Manospherian type people. Like,
no, I hear that.
So I guarantee you, she didn't really get this big support because she was around Sarah, nor the fame.
No, but he will tell you himself. He'll tell himself that he was her first come up in the UK, and he was the one who helped her get her. And a lot of the people who became permanents were through him, his connects. Now, I'm not saying that. Like I said, there's many things going on. There's probably, I don't want to use the term entitlement, and maybe rightly so. Maybe there was an expectation from Brother Sarah, and he can jump in at any time to discuss this, that if he's doing all this work for this individual, maybe he will be treated in a much more favorable way and not get the kind of deals that these other people get. And I suspect that might have played something, but I could be wrong. He has to defend that, whatever, right?
No,
but also, in regards to speaking about Black empowerment stuff, I'm very proud to see when brothers go on non-Black panels and they back up their Black thoughts. I would say though, and this is not a criticism, it's just an awareness, that when the question was asked about black love, and fair enough, he was probably caught off guard. The way he reacted, and we should. I don't know if I got the video. I feel that when it comes to defending the black woman and saying you love black women only, there's a way to put that that is very empowering. And I always recommend all black men, you talk to non-black women in an empowerment way about why you pick black women. You understand? Like the conversation should end with, oh yeah, you're a black man, you love black women. Economics, this is the natural thing. Like, of course black men love black women. Are you crazy? That rather than, oh, the thing is, it's like that kind of direction. We want to leave that. Yeah, we want to leave that. Not to say the brother was there, but I'm saying that for a brother who grew up on Marcus Garvey and these kinds of things, there's a way you respond to black love. But then once again, that's just an observation, and when the brother is free, we'll discuss this.
To be honest, these things are not easy, bruv. Trust me. I can just tell what's going on, and with his situation, it was ideal. Just think of his perspective. She's been there with Kevin Samuels. She's been on Fresh and Fit. His angle as a black male, with what he's told about his personal experience, you're thinking of it from her perspective coming here, and his contacts.
What about his values? That goes absolutely against his Garveyite values. So basically, because of opportunity, as per usual, you could just sell out because it was a great look.
Where's the sellout?
Hold on, because you said yourself.
Comes down to money. Comes down to money. I didn't.
You said yourself, that she shouldn't even have been placed on that pedestal for being a white woman alone, right? You wouldn't even placed her there. So what business has he got to? You're saying that he's in a complicated situation. What business has he got putting himself there in the first place? As intellectual as he likes to come across, he should have saw that was problem from the start. A white woman, the head of a black manosphere. But because she's been on Fresh and Fit, this is my get in. Do you know what he was?
No. Go ahead.
Do you know what he was? Yeah. He might have not been the one to give her the views, but he was to her that black friend. Yeah. He affirmed her. While had been on that show when she just started, he was there day in, day out, watching her barefoot and clapping at all of her stuff, slamming black women. This ain't the beginning. He was there for months.
I agree. I agree. And to me, he
could have stopped. Go ahead.
To me, he seemed. I mean, I don't really know much about him, but to me, when I watched the videos, it more so when you said he said to her, "Be quiet," it was more like a protective thing. Like, I'm protecting her. And from what I've seen of him, he just seems to speak down a lot on, particularly when the black women reveal that they have children, and they might be single parents. He really then goes in for the kill, which I found quite strange. And listening to you all talk about his background, I found that quite interesting. And to me, by telling her to be quiet, I saw it differently. I didn't see it as.
You can't speak on this.
Yeah, I saw that differently. I saw that as him being a protector. That's how I saw it. But maybe I don't know a lot about him, but I'm just coming as a layperson.
It was clearly within the context of, because you're a white woman or a white person, you trying to speak in this context with this subject right now, you're not qualified. That was very clear. And maybe because I know him for many years.
I do remember when he was mentioning the underdevelopment of Africa, the book, how Africa was underdeveloped. And he was trying to explain to the lady about slavery, what it means. The thing is, honestly, and that's why I tried to reference the fact that because when you grow up in the acting world, it is quite different. Yeah, I know this, right? And you are going into another world, and you always, you have to wear different masks and this kind of stuff, right? But when you grow up in the Pan-African world, there's certain your spider senses are triggered very, very quickly. And I suspect the brother was very kind toward this lady for many shortcomings she did. Before we start, we were joined by Brother Dominic and Sister Sankova. Welcome, brothers and sisters.
Greetings. I'm on the move, but I thought let me tune in today. I finally got in at the same time, so I'm listening.
Good. Well, whenever you want to speak, just let us know. Before everyone jumps in, yeah. So I would say that the spider senses should have been tingling quite early.
But hold on, brother. It's been mentioned that he's in there for fame, clout, money.
I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say
no,
this.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. I just want to say this piece before, because I wanted to finish off. What I'm saying is, from the perspective of what he's been talking about all the time, and the different ways and angles. Because remember, our people want to switch that off. Yeah, they want to hear this black stuff. It's too problematic. Too many doors closed, etc. They want the easy way out all the time. I'm saying, with this woman, people are looking at her using him, but I'm saying with her coming on fresh and fit and him as a black UK man in this arena, it would now allow him to go to her people, the people that are following them and fresh and fit, and for him to present what he's got to say as a pro-black man. That's the way I'm looking at it, and that's probably what he said.
You're very kind, and hopefully that's what was intended. But the issue is, when you have an ideology. So here's what I want to say, because sometimes we have to play chess. And I know we like playing drafts, but let's play chess, right? This is a woman, a white woman, European woman, and she has a show. And in this show, she pays everyone money to come on the show. So well done to her for having that kind of platform, right? But what you notice is she paid money, allegedly, I assume, I could be wrong, for a white supremacist to come on her show. Now, when this white supremacist came on the show, this white supremacist, she was very kind. They were back and forth. They mentioned other people who are far right and some people deem as extremists, who she was best pleased with, and then he was even very kind towards her, saying, "I hope I don't get you in trouble, so I won't ask you any questions that might ruin your show." So they were on code. This is a woman who openly confesses that she has a love for black men. She wants to be intimate with them and this kind of thing. But when he was making fun of the concept of white men being with black men, she was still kind. She did not defend her other guest, who was dating one of her employees. You see. So she employs a black man who was dating a European Italian lady who was insulted by her invited paid guests. And at no point did she kick back on anything at all.
But this is recent, bro. This isn't. We're talking about when he joined and what's happened in between.
No. I'm painting a picture. Let me paint a picture. So what I'm saying is, this is the picture of a white woman being on code. You understand, right? With other white people who may or may not have the same ideology of her. So let's say that she is not a white supremacist. She might not be a white supremacist, but she's a white person, and she seemed to be very on code with the other white person on the show who allegedly has a different ideology to herself. So the reason I'm saying this is, when a black man or a black woman goes on a show, let's say Black Manosphere, for example, if you're not best pleased with black women, I say, what is the solution? How do you present that? What is the end goal? So this is how I believe these ideologies that they're saying. I would enter these shows by going, I recognize that there is a breakdown in the black family, and I'm longing for the black man and the black woman to have black economics and black ownership. So I'm going to work with the black woman for us to find solutions. Yeah, I would make it very clear what I'm about. But if people I could say I'm talking a lot about black women, it seems to be very destructive, because a black man who's pro-black, any kind of flavoring and marketing that looks like they are not pro-black woman is problematic, because the most important thing in a black man's world is a black woman. I mean, he
stressed that, and Thingy stressed that as well for himself. He said that. So
I never want to, and the brother can always come and defend himself. I know the brother well, and I would say, and maybe he would agree with me. Maybe he would agree with me. I have yet to see that data or that content where, for example, have you observed me in Speaker's Corner?
Mm-hmm.
Have you observed many non-black people and black people almost get into wrestling type of arguments because of my stance on black love? Have you observed this?
Well, I've seen them try to oppose you, and as they do, pretend you're stirring up trouble. Yeah,
of course. So what I'm saying is, this is I too have worked in the acting field. I too have been in shows and TV and stuff, right? So I understand, the behind the scenes and how you have to be, whatever. But yet, as a pro-black person, Pan-African black betterer, nothing is more important than a black man and a black woman. Nothing. And if
you're saying playing chess. Listen to what you just said, right? Because I grew up playing chess, right? Now, in chess, number one, you generally don't just push your queen right up to the front. Okay, it's your most powerful piece. You don't just put her right up against the pawn, right? So when what you're saying, when you're talking about playing chess, you could say he's a perfect example. He's going in this not too tough. He's putting his pawn bit here and using the rook there and whatever else. So you could say that's exactly what he's doing, because at the moment, our people would not really be hearing a man who went on with his black queen. That wouldn't be really accepted by a lot of these
push back a bit. I hear it. So let me push back a slight bit. When you say chest, here is a brother who has introduced many of the Speakers Corner community to a woman who has invited a white supremacist on the show, and now there's this massive hullabaloo in the manosphere.
Listen to what you just said. Who has introduced the white? Bruv, this is lately. We're going back when he started. Yeah, so he got with her. She wasn't saying none of this stuff. She didn't invite a white supremacist beforehand. So he's been talking to her for months. She didn't reveal her true colours.
Issa, but what she was doing was bringing down black women every chance she got, while he sat there and nodded his head. Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. He was that black friend that affirmed it. I'm not racist. I've got a black friend. I can go around saying the N-word because the black friends that I've got let me say it. He was that black friend, Issa. There were so many chances he had to get up and say, this ain't on. This is against my morals. Fresh or fit, likes and views. It ain't worth it. And he didn't. The only time we've seen him now is not even out of this explosion. He's not even angry about the racist guy jumping on. He's talking about contracts. Issa. Come on. Like, bro, just I get it. I get it, bro. But sometimes this is the problem with us, you know. This is the problem with us. If you just separate it, bro, listen, I get it. Yeah, you're not the only one who's known Sarah. You're not the only one who's I'm disappointed in it. I can say that. And you know what? If it is a big scheme, if he does make something out of this, I'll be the first one to say, well done, brother. I'll be the first one. But right now, it doesn't look right. And looking at the whole manosphere, looking at their whole quote unquote game plan, it's failed miserably. Yep. They're in disarray right now. I don't see anyone with a good game plan. Clearly, this didn't work out how anyone wanted it to. Nothing is screaming out that I did this for you, black women. I did this for you, black man. I did this for black family. Nothing screams out that from Sarah.
Right.
Sorry.
He does need to be questioned on that. That's an interesting point. I know he did make a point of the racist guy. He did point that out. He was disappointed in that. But he said there's been things showing itself here and there. Now, when we talk about, for me personally, I would have said straight away, black sisters, do not let her talk to you like that. If you want to argue amongst yourself, I suggest you don't do it on camera, but don't let her talk to you like that. Do you know what I mean? That's my stance. Why he let that happen, I don't know what happened behind the scenes or what he was waiting for, etc. But my point is, it definitely was not just about the contract. He's trying to show a whole picture of what she's doing, taking pictures, of getting them to do this thing when they're half drunk, which seems to be into that blackmail thing. My point is, this is valuable information coming out. Now, just think, if you've got young black girls being silly, doing stuff, now got themselves videoed and on pictures, now being blackmailed to do other stuff, to entice other black men. Because this is what they keep doing. They get these lot now to entice other black people to then do the same thing and the same thing.
I hear what you're saying, and sorry, Sis Sanko, but I know you want to come in. I just want to say quickly, is that number one, it wasn't black women, it was black grown men who should have known better. And there were several parties. What was he even doing at the party? Like, this is what I'm saying. He was there. He's not some great guy. Like, he was a part of it. He was sitting there.
Family.
So, and what is it that he has told us that you didn't already know? That they fetishize over black. What has he told you that you don't already know? Why did he go through this to tell you what you already know? There's no new information. I knew these kind of parties go on. I knew they fetishize about black men bodies.
Empress.
No blackmailing the people.
Hold on, brother Issa, 4 seconds. What it is I hate getting people's names wrong. I think this brother's name's Antoine. I think. And he's got a show, I think it's called The Piff. I could be wrong. My memory's always bad. And he has black women and black men talk about whatever.
Anton Daniels.
And I know he's identifying that he's not pro-black. And I know he's married to a black woman, but he's not pro-black. And he had Sarah on his show. I tried to blackify it, but I never had time. So hopefully it isn't copyrighted. But if you guys, we can watch, because I know that this brother here to the left is very pro-Pearl and a good friend of hers. And I understand he isn't best pleased with Sarah, although he has invited him on. and he asks very crucial questions to like, why are you doing this now? So should we play this? They end up arguing and then making up whatever. But should we play some of it and stop and start it, or because some of the things they're saying now, they mention he asks these questions like why, and this might be. I take it most people haven't seen this, is right?
Yep, I haven't seen it at all, bro.
So should I play it just for a bit, just to see where it goes?
Yeah.
All right, so this.
Anton, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing today?
The algorithms, will it? But if it is like a copyrighted thing, will it matter that we're in this thing? I don't know. Hope not.
Good. I was just out and I saw the live and I thought, let me just jump on.
Okay. Did you see any of the beginning of it?
I didn't. I heard someone told me that Pearl was on, and yeah, so I thought, okay, cool. You know,
let me skip all this. So let me get where they start talking.
I'm built for war when I'm not built for war, or asks for a war when I don't really want a war, and essentially that's what I saw. So I said, okay, cool. With this whole colonial mindset that you've got, specifically within the space, built up generally of black men, I've seen that she's been treating them disrespectfully, treating them like they are employees, but semi slaves when it comes to the contracts and stuff. So I said to myself, okay, you want to go to war? Let's go to war.
But you've worked with her for a year, right?
I've worked with her for a year, but I hadn't worked with her for about 3 months.
So what happened for the other 9 months that you were with her, that you would take that, because you were taking money from her though, right? You was doing stuff for a fee, right?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, of course.
But you felt like she was a colonizer while you were also taking money from her for a fee though, right? And you were helping her grow her channel.
I would say that the deeper that I got into working for, the more I saw what the setup was, because I was working independently and I didn't see it like that. The deeper that I got, I started seeing what was going on around her and the type of setup that she had. So I just said, you know what, I'm not really feeling this. And also I saw her ego grow. And we've all got an ego, I get it. But when you have an ego with black people, to treat them less than who they actually are, I think something needs to be said.
So you felt like she was a colonizer, or she had this colonizing mentality or spirit, even though she was a bit naive, but it took you 9 months to be able to separate yourself from her, right?
No, it probably took me 9 months to really see the operation, if I'm honest.
Sarah, you're a very intelligent man.
So we're going to stop it there. So he's asked the question, you're around this European person for many months. You only discovered it towards the end. And I think some people have questioned that in the panel. So what? You're
a very intelligent man. I seen you on the video, or you'll be any of the video where you was like, well, if we don't do it, or if you haven't subscribed and you watch 2 videos, what do we have? Beef, so on and so forth, and all of this. Come on, man. Like, whatever opinion that you had of her, you didn't just develop it within the 9th month and then say, you know what? Well, I'm out.
No, it was a developing psychology. I won't lie, but the point that I'm trying to make is, once I saw what the operation was like, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm comfortable with this. So
was it that you wasn't comfortable with the contract that she offered you, or you wasn't comfortable with her mentality? Because you were cool enough to actually entertain the possibility of a contract after you had done business with her, right? I guess the question that I'm really asking is, how come you didn't dedicate your energy, your resources, and your platform into developing other black people from the very beginning if you were all about focusing on black people?
my ethos, right, for me is I don't hate people and I don't disrespect people, but I want Black people to do the best for themselves that they can do no matter where they are on the planet. I've always said that. They call it Black nationalism. I don't care if you're in Zimbabwe, America, the UK. If Black people can help themselves off the bottom of the social economic ladder, I'm all about it. So, like I said, I work with everyone. If you've seen my content, I've interviewed all types of people because I don't hate people. I'm about.
But you utilized your platform to promote her
also.
platform, though.
So,
it's a difference, though.
Go say again.
I said you utilized your platform and you worked with her for over 9 months. It's a difference between interviewing somebody and you know, creating content, but then working with them and sitting in a studio and then also even considering the possibility of a contract. That speaks to a completely different thing, right? And when you sit around somebody or you spend enough time with somebody.
If anyone has any comments, they can always say pause and I'll pause it.
You develop some sort of a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a working friendship relationship type of thing. You start to, whenever you have somebody's phone number and you have the ability to call them, it's a completely different conversation, though. Would you agree or would you disagree with that?
Yeah, she was a business associate, of course. Yeah, 100%.
And so this particular time, right, you're saying that based off of what you told me, is that when you seen her in the comments saying that she's going to come for people, then that's what sparked it for you to create this video about the person that you've worked with for the last year.
Like I said, I hadn't worked with her for 3 months prior to that.
Right.
And I had been, for my own uncomfortable reasons, I'd been watching what had been going down. There are some things behind the scenes, like with certain individuals within the camp that I'd been hearing, and conversations that I've also had. And yeah, I just felt like, specifically when it comes to Black men, I'm about ownership. And we can do business. Don't get me wrong, you and I could do business, but I'm never going to try and own you. And I don't want you to try and own me. So myself and Pearl were business partners. And essentially, she came to me with a new contract that I'd never signed a contract with her before. And she suggested that I work for her under her contract. So as a business person, I chose to listen to what exactly the contract was, knowing all of this other stuff.
But you had already at what point in a relationship was it month 8, month 7, month 9? I'm just trying to get a timeline. Is it month 7th, 8th, or 9th that she proposed the business contract?
Oh, she proposed that quite recently. She proposed that. I met up with Pearl after.
So what the brother's doing, he's asking very particular questions, and that's very important, just in general.
3 months of like not seeing her.
So basically, within the last month or two.
Maybe 10 days ago.
Okay, so 10 days ago, you were open to listening from a business perspective of how it was that you can do business with a person that you identified as a colonizer.
I wanted to see what she would say, if I'm honest. I really wanted to see what she would say.
Come on, Sarah. That's not what you said in the video.
No, what do you mean I never said? What did I not say in the video?
You didn't say you was doing it just to see what she would say. Why would you even entertain a contract from a person that you don't even like, or you felt like was dirty, or you felt like would take, whatever, employees? Why would you even entertain the possibility of having a conversation with somebody to do business with them if you have no intention of doing business with them?
As a business person, you always listen. You always listen to somebody who's got a contract. You may not like somebody who's got a contract, but money and business are two different things. So I listened to her. So when I listened to her, already knowing what I knew, I was like, yeah, she really is a colonizer. So I was like, all right, cool. I was never intending to take the business contract. I won't lie to you. I was never intending to work for Pearl again. I just saw the ties were cut. I saw what I saw. Let me see what she's going to say.
So I think what Brother Sarah was saying is he had no intention of signing a contract with Pearl, but he did go to the studio to hear what she was proposing. I think that's what he's saying.
In the video, you said she said that she wanted to do business with you, and you didn't say that you never intended to do business. You just wanted to listen. And this right now, you saying as a business person, I need to listen. But then you saying that you never intended to actually do business with her in the first place.
I already cut ties with Pearl like 9 months ago, but she called me
So
up.
why would you even answer the phone and even entertain a contract in the first place?
Because I want to know.
And why did you cut ties? And did she know that you cut ties, or did you just disappear?
No, we had conversations about it.
What was the conversation?
We had conversations. She was going through some stuff. I was going through some stuff. Things weren't aligning with our views and stuff. And so I said, all right, cool. You take some time. I'll take some time. If we get to work in the future, so be it.
So now you saying that you didn't walk away because you didn't necessarily like what it was that she stood for as a colonizer. You saying that y'all business practices and where it is that y'all was going in the directions of y'all life, especially with regard to, I'm assuming, y'all channels or whatever it is that you wanted to market or promote yourself, was just different. It just didn't align.
Yeah, myself and Pearl didn't align.
Okay, so if that be the case, then why, after she still thinks, because I have a hard time believing that a woman that a woman that thinks that you don't like her or you see her as a colonizer is willing to offer you a contract as a result of it, right? And so she sits down thinking that y'all still cool and y'all want to do business, and then you say no, and then you drop a bombshell on her based off of what you really think on a video instead of having a conversation with her in person or calling her on the phone.
I had conversations. There's a lot. I understand why it may not make sense to you. There's a lot that I'm actually not revealing. Make
it plain for me.
Hang on. In the video, I said that there is more to reveal. Okay, I did say that in the video at the end of the video. So there's more to reveal. So I don't want to incriminate certain people. I really don't want to incriminate certain people. And so I know that it may sound to you that it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense once you know the full picture. And the problem here is no one knows the full picture. So I totally understand why it may not.
So why you didn't call a person though? I mean, you got a direct connection.
There you go. Pause.
Pause, please, brother. So I was saying it looked like he playing chess, right? And everything he said there, and with what you should know and what I know about how this thing rolls. If you're trying, our people are, to be honest, the most difficult people to work with. Okay. And what he's been doing, we know with Adonic or something like that, and the other things he's been doing, he's been trying to deal with the brothers that are on the thing already, and then the others that are not. There's always this thing where we're trying to capture our people that are essentially, you might as well say, anti us. And it's how exactly do you do that? And that's where the chess game comes in. And everything he's more or less described there is that chess game.
Bro Raven, I just want to say that I know that I interrupted Sankova before the video.
Good evening.
We'd like to welcome Brother Razor as well. And did you say Sankova something she wanted to say? Is that correct? Am I wrong?
I interrupted the sis before you played the video.
Oh, Sister Sankova, did you want to finish your thoughts before the video was played? Sorry about that. No.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say you can let the video finish if you want, or let that bit finish because I'm
listening. Cool.
Addressing the main question when I speak.
Okay, cool. We'll carry on. If anyone wants to pause, just say pause. Brother Razor, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I want to say good evening to the whole panel. Excuse me, a bit of a cold, but anyway. Evening. Really quickly, Anton Daniels, boy, listen. The whole manosphere, to be honest, like I tapped out of that early, especially when I saw this kind of narrative against black women. I tapped out. It was ridiculous. And now, from America to the UK over this white girl, I mean, it's like you open up yourself and you spread out yourself. So, you look nasty right now. It's ridiculous. And sometimes people got to learn lessons. Got to learn harsh lessons to see exactly where they stand. Some people don't care. You know, Anton doesn't care. You know, he's about getting money. Sarah is like a mixed bag for me. I do think his intentions were, because he's a freelancer, he's there to kind of, you know, there's a thing about business and money and, you know, personal aspirations. He understands they don't mix. So I'll leave it there. You know, it's best to probably watch the rest of the video.
Okay.
To the person. See, that's my biggest thing, right? You can choose not to take the contract. You can renegotiate the contract. You can say, yes, I do, or no, I don't, or I don't like it, or all of this other type of stuff. But the thing that I'm trying to understand is...
Anton, I didn't hear you. You said, why didn't I call the... No, sorry, I didn't hear you. You said, why didn't I call the person?
What I'm saying is, if I have a problem with somebody that I know in real life, that I've done business with in real life, that I've exchanged money with in real life, that I've spent an extensive amount of time with them in real life. My initial instinct personally and how I do business is that I keep it 100% G with them, and I call them and I have a conversation with them specifically. So like, even if somebody says something that I disagree with online, if I know you in real life, I call you behind the scenes and I say, yo, what the fuck was that? Or whatever, so on and so forth. I don't create something that I'm going to then use against them in a bombshell and blindside them, especially when I have the ability to call them.
Let's just make it plain, okay? The conversation that myself and Pearl had was to talk about, because she interviewed Nick Fuentes, okay? I said there's a lot that I didn't want to reveal, but, you know, I guess it is what it is. When we met up, when she done Nick Fuentes, I didn't know about Nick Fuentes. I had no idea. She didn't contact me. She didn't contact MTR. She didn't contact Melanie. We were all on her platform, and we done a live together. And none of us
were y'all in the building or on a panel when she did Nick Fuentes?
No. We didn't know anything about it.
Why was she obligated to tell y'all about it if y'all wasn't on that particular show?
Okay, I'm going somewhere.
Okay,
So,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she didn't let any of us know. When I met up with Pearl, and I said to her, I saw
please,
what happened with Nick Fuentes, right? I said,
pause. There you go.
Brother Dominic is in the back. He might want to say something right now, so if you want to let him.
Oh, here we go. Yes, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're on now, Dom. Sorry, didn't see you there.
You're on the ball today,
no,
brother.
I'm there. Yeah. Hi, family. I just wanted to say that if you notice that Pearl's never really spoken out in the public, she's gotten other black YouTubers to speak for her. And I just find it strange that no one really gives her the questions, but all the questions are coming back to other black YouTubers. And it seems like we're fighting among each other.
Facts.
100%.
Facts.
We're joined by a Public Empress. Oh no, she's gone now. But Public, if you want to jump in, let me know. If you come back in, we'll ask someone to drop off. But that's when you come back. If you come back, so shall I carry on playing the video?
Can I just ask a quick question though? A quick question.
Go ahead.
To what the brother just said, and everyone said facts. Well, no, but because I'm not addressing no one person specifically, even though some have obviously, and we're talking about one person right now in particular, but the main question is the real question. However, if for those who think it's a chess game and a this game and a business and a rate, if that's facts, what that brother just said, how does that align then with whatever business and long game? If now black men in particular are killing themselves to defend this white woman, if this is embarrassing and it don't make no sense and that's facts, how does the two align?
Which bit are you? Because he was saying, why don't they question her? Is that what you're addressing?
No, and he also said that now we're arguing amongst ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I basically said. That
she's not having to defend herself. Black men are losing their minds to defend her. Yeah, black men are doing the bidding, but you're saying facts.
No, I'm more quite saying that in regards to the fact that she can just sit there and just.
No, I'm not even talking about you. You know, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about those that defend those the brothers who put themselves in that space.
Oh right. Oh well, I don't have no love for them.
As in Sarah, is that what you mean? Those who are
No,
defending
and
Sarah.
again, I'm not being specific to him. Every single black man, like the question is, does the black manosphere, what's the question? Do they need to learn about white supremacy, or do they have any understanding? The understanding is clearly not present.
Yeah.
And there's no presence of knowledge of self, of pride, there's lots of issues here. Because the basic, well, let me just say what I'm saying now. The basic point is, when this white woman who has who now we all have all the documented back evidence, same agent as Candice Owen, she comes from money, she's paid to understand the space, blah blah blah, you know, the normal white supremacist handbook. You know, she studied even if you go down the rabbit hole, we understand that there's an agenda. And if we say that, yes, there's an agenda on the black family, then I'm not sure what the confusion is. But there must be a lack of awareness as a community, but obviously a certain space of a particular set of men with a particular mindset that wasn't able to see this white woman coming. There's such low self-esteem that if this white woman, and her small age apparently as well, she's probably one of the youngest people in the room more time. This woman is coming to tell you,
that's true.
These black women, these heifers, these modern women, stroke black women, and these black men are, this white woman, she's here, she's for us.
Nah, this is being painted wrong. This is being painted wrong.
And then
painted wrong.
I'm painting it wrong.
Yeah.
You're not painting it wrong at all for me.
This is the issue.
Exactly.
And then now we're having a conversation of, and again, I'm not addressing no one person, because I've heard other people in this space come talk about, some are going to say they're pro-black, some are not saying they're pro-black. I don't know what pro-black means to people, because if pro-black means, I'm a nationalist Pan-Africanist, and so we can define and be specific. So first and foremost, it's called race first. Let's first start there.
Right.
So race first, we're talking about racial pride,
and he's a Garvey
integrity, dignity, and restoration of these things. So if I understand that we're in a war and we have a white supremacist agenda, any person, man or woman, but we're talking about men, any black man within his right mind, no matter what issues he has with a black woman, would never sit in front of a white woman to have a negative conversation, nothing solution based, to pull out ridiculous statistics. I'm going to call them ridiculous. Some of these statistics don't even apply to this country, but ridiculous statistics that justifies a lack of accountability, that justifies a lack of growth, that justifies a lack of knowledge of self. And then now, when she's, to me, played her hand too early, because you know that interview was, look how I control my blacks, look how I deal with my blacks. Yes, right. She was trying to transition. She's transitioning. She's trying to transition. I don't know if her transition has been successful.
Oh my days, you're right.
I don't know if her transition has been successful, but it looks like she played her hand a bit early. Because she didn't realize
but when
some of us are going to lose our mind a little bit.
White supremacists. She said that with a white guy when she said
because He is the gateway to what her end destination is. Do you understand? That conversation wasn't for us. She couldn't give a good goddamn about us, clearly, evidently. And that's not from this interview. She didn't give a damn. I don't even know why I'm questioning that. That's the other thing. I'm not trying to rationale what is a clear agenda, because our history keeps showing us. Our history keeps showing us. And history till present day. I always say, you see the same when we talk about, and our children are failing in schools and the racism in schools. I keep having to remind us, because you see me, I don't sleep on the white woman, none at all. We keep talking about the white man. He is, you see the conversation that's being pushed, and there's no traditional family. The white man don't leave his white woman. Do you hear me? And the white woman plays her agenda well, plays her part well. He don't move without her. There's no white man in the history of anything till present day that don't have his woman next to him. Are you crackers? But we are falling for that agenda.
Yes.
So my point being, she was auditioning for somebody else. It had nothing to do with us.
Yes.
But like I said, I don't know how the transition has gone. But some of us who need, again, to not look so bad, we're outraged. Oh my God, you interviewed this racist. And then whatever else is coming out, whatever. But we're not still, that particular demographic that's tuned into this thing, we're still not doing the work that we need to do on ourselves, because how did we get here in the first place? How has one singular white woman got us here? The reason why I brought up the school situation, was because when we're talking about the negative situation in our schools, it is white women that's oppressing children, We're not black people dominant in schools. It is white women that are dominant in the quote, urban schools. And then that's the same woman now that's coming to fetishize you when you turn 18, you're hot stuff. After she did demonize you and couldn't wait to get you behind bars.
Sister, we've got Sister Poet in.
Sorry, my little rant is over.
That's fine. It was good.
But I'm just saying, it's the mindset.
Raven, click that last bit there. That's some bars, boy. Jeez.
Welcome back.
Can someone drop off? Maybe
I
just
can.
for a bit,
No problem. I'll be in the chats, family.
Oh my gosh! Greetings. Oh my head.
Welcome, Sister Poet.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yep.
Okay. I really enjoyed that session, whoever that was. Sorry, I won't be too long. Wow, there's a lot to say here. I have a question for the men on the panel. What is the ultimate gain of joining the Manosphere? What have you learned, and what knowledge can you pass on to other people and to the younger black men? What have you learned from being in the Manosphere?
Okay, can I answer first, please?
Go on. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'll say this. Your culture and your race applies in every aspect of your life. From the Manosphere, there is none of that. It's a bunch of ass-kissing nonsense and a complete detachment from who you are and what you are. I wasn't necessarily into the Manosphere because I don't hate women. Always show love to the women of your own kind, regardless of where they come from or what culture they come from. I can't, the internet stuff for me is just, it's a bunch of entertainment. It's not, a lot of it isn't even rooted in reality. It's a bunch of rubbish. There's probably more I could say, but I'll let everybody else answer.
So before I forget, to me, there's no such thing as the Manosphere, because that suggests that it includes all men in the equally same way, that they're all in more or less the same position and need the same healing and have the same cause of problems. So it's an anti-black Manosphere routing. To me, when you look at the sequence of events going from the lockdown, Black Lives Matter, all of that stuff, which sort of raised the idea that black men and women have a problem. So then, remember, a lot of these guys have been talking for years, and all of a sudden, this Manosphere becomes a main thing. Kevin Samuels, etc. And although they're pretending to be against it, it's like they're pushing this thing. But they made sure they use someone like Kevin Samuels, who again is pushing the anti-black, pro-white Western agenda, but still talking about black women in the kind of smart way, suited up, do you know what I mean, way, which if it's not totally black solutions based, it is anti-black. So therefore it's an anti-black manosphere. So when you say what can you benefit, if they didn't do it this way, we would have sorted it out ourselves, and we would have had it as, you know, whatever we wanted to call it, as the solution to the black family's problem. So they made sure they pushed this thing. They had 2 coons fresh and fit, you know, 1 coon and 1 mulatto Arab or whatever the hell he is. And unfortunately, loads of black men got caught up in that whirlwind. And from there, it spiraled out with other people taking from that. So when you say, what have you learned? What can you pass on? I guess for me, that's been pro-black from time is different for me than these unfortunate guys out there, because I don't have a lot of problems that they have. You know, I've been tall, dark, black man who let's say from nursery days, I've always had ladies. So I remember when I was 4, I had 2 girlfriends in nursery, and this man asked me that, and I laughed. So if I haven't been in the situation these guys have been in, it's actually taught me to look at men and who can't get women and understand their situation. And therefore, the problem with the society, for instance, the anger that's within the youngers today, this actually is an important point, sister. There's a lot of men, apparently black men, committing self-deletion. Okay. When I look back and think, when I was a teenager, one of the visions of my future which I could look forward to was getting married and having children. These youngsters today don't seem to have that vision in the future. Now, if you take that out, what more of all the bad things that they've got in society, if they haven't even got that, do you not think that's also contributing to them self-deleting themselves?
So for me, that was my next point. What is the alternative?
The alternative to what? The manosphere, or?
Yes.
Yeah, the alternative is, you know, the family sphere. However, I mean, to me, it has to be black focused. So, it would be going back to our traditions and carefully deciding. We go through the whole lot that, you know, let's say all our major traditions, and saying, well, this is what we need to do. This is how the black woman needs to be towards a black man. The black man has to be towards a black woman in tradition, in whatever it is necessary for now, and where we want to get to, the results and the problems with the way that we're doing things now. Basically, whether you want to call it ends up looking like a cult or religion or whatever the hell it looks like, it needs to be detailed. We need to thrash through all of this information and make sure it's black through and through, pervaded with only the black consciousness, understanding the enemy that's crept within our minds and how we imitate them with everything, and anticipating the continuous obstacles that we're going to face.
Okay, so let me ask again. What are the benefits, or what were the benefits of being, you know, connected to or in the manosphere? Just one benefit, if you will.
Okay, understanding how hard it is for men who are not like me, maybe who don't get ladies so easy, which allows me to now deal with brothers on a different level, calculating society's problems, the younger violence and stuff like that.
So this dating thing, is this not something that black men can learn from, you know, their family unit, their uncles and so forth? Is the total breakdown of the black family responsible for where the manosphere is now, which is attracting young men into this arena?
I get the point that
the culture's mashed. That's what I'm saying. Remember the previous tradition with Pan-Africanism, in Marcus Garvey, for instance, you had Muslims and you had Christians. So that already, you had people, the idea of marriage was already there. The religion was still there. When they took away, and this was one of the things I was going to say, that Pan-Africanism didn't replace it, or Pan-Africanists didn't replace what religion gave our people back then. So I was going to have a discussion or debate with Shakara on this issue, where I'm blaming the Pan-Africanists for this specific issue. You took away the so-called Abrahamics. You laugh. You took away they took away the so-called Abrahamics, but then you didn't replace it with nothing. So now we're left with this major issue of the morals, the values, and the rituals and practices of our collective. Now they're all over the place, and the Manosphere comes along and says, "Hey, follow me. This is how you see women, and this is the problem with them," and because that vacuum's left for them. So yeah.
So we touched on this. I think it was last week. Do you really think that UK black men are suited to this arena of the American Manosphere?
No.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just basic information, which is factual there and here. Because what's happening with
this is what I'm saying. We're having a dishonest conversation, and we haven't answered the sister's question properly.
What?
Because the reason why I'm saying it's dishonest is because, one, they're not all young. Yeah. Most of the people that we're looking on the screen are big people, big people. Yeah. So so that's first dishonest there. I'm not saying it's not trickling down to the young people, but all the people we're looking at, even on the screen right now, these are big people.
What do you understand her question to be? Do you remember the question?
Her question is what is the benefit?
Give me one benefit. So what
you haven't answered that question.
Of course, I said from what I've learned was for me to be able to look and understand it's not as easy for all other men to get women.
According to the Manosphere, they're getting women. It's the fact that women are delusional.
No,
women.
Not at all. Their thing is men are not getting. This is what they're saying. They have to go and get their money up, go to the gym. They have to do all of these different things. Stop simping with women. This is exactly their point. They're not. They're saying women now, because they have the internet, the majority of women can now get access to the rich man, and they're leaving the general average 9 to 5. And they're not even paying them attention.
You know, the key thing here
is, like I said, it's still dishonest because it's delusional conversation.
The key thing is that the Manosphere, it's not, it doesn't seem to be teaching men to be better men, to be suitable husbands, to focus on one person. I mean, you know, it's not maturing men. It's not making men think about how can they develop themselves? How can they develop their skills? How can they, you know, self-educate? How can they? Everyone seems to be following each other.
This what I mean. It's a white supremacist. It's a white supremacist, capitalistic, value-based ideology. That's what I'm saying. So you're not going to find, because remember, if they started to teach that, what do you think would be the results of these black men? If they taught what you just said needs to be taught, they don't want. That's what they were scared of, and that's why they pushed that forward. What you're saying is what they pushed forward, because if they taught black men, you know what, you have to go into your history, your black self, align yourself correct with who you are as a black man, and then look to be a great black husband, a great black father. Think of that. They're not talking about that. They're just talking about, well, women have become this and that, and treat them like this, and don't be. That's all they're talking about. That's what I said. It's not even a matter.
And this is the big thing. This is why I think UK black men are not suited to the USA Manosphere, because your social makeup is different to what is going on in America. And someone mentioned before, is all it seems to be doing is having the bad side of the Manosphere, all the ideologies seeping over into the UK. So what I'm saying is, it's a shame that this, I would say, tool of the Manosphere wasn't used to try and build up the men's part of the community, so that you could bring it into the black community in the UK with more positive ideas about how to uplift the community. All it seems to have done is the negative, and it's crumbling. It's not helped in any way, shape, or form. So I put it to you, the men on the panel. How do you see the Manosphere in a year's time, 2 years' time? Is it something that you will still be looking at and maybe dipping in and out of for information? Is it something that you think, no, it's a waste of time? Do you recommend it? How do you see the future of the Manosphere?
Okay.
Can somebody else chime in?
I think so. Who hasn't spoke? So I don't know if I've been asked that question, but I think I've been very clear on everything I do is from a Black Betterment perspective. So the Manosphere wasn't doing anything to do that. If anything, it was reversing Black Betterment ideals. So I wouldn't. I've never been in the Manosphere, but I have observed it for this show purposes, and what I've seen. It's the same as any other kind of collective of Black people coming together that doesn't have a Black empowerment agenda, and it just ends up being run by white people and destroying Black people. Before we can we have one person drop on? We've got another guest who wants to get on WIM. This is a man, so we could probably give you a man perspective.
Oh, I'll drop off if I did have more questions.
No, because you're asking a question, so you stay. There you go. And is there anyone who wants to answer your question? Anyone else you want to answer that question, Sister Poet?
Yeah, I wanted to. I just wanted to answer that question.
Go ahead.
Which was what was the question again? If anyone remembers.
Yeah, it was about what are the benefits of the Manosphere. Is that the question? Which
no. How do you see the Manosphere in a year's time? Yes. And will you still be part of it, basically?
Yeah. So personally, for me, I'm just speaking on my personal opinion that I think personally I wouldn't be involved in the Manosphere, and I never really have been, because one thing I ask myself is, would you swap places with someone in their position? Most of the men that are on these panels, just pearly things or fish, fit and fresh, if you look at them, they're not married, they're single. So you really take advice from someone that you wouldn't really want to swap positions with future-wise, because if you look at them, they have something against women, so they probably had no game when they were younger or didn't get women or whatnot. They're not married, they don't have any kids, and the ones that have had kids, they've been divorced. So when you look at it in that perspective, ask yourself, have you ever been or seen on a show any of the men on the panels, even the women that are actually married or in a relationship? Most of the people that come on these kind of shows, they're not even in a relationship. And these are the people we're kind of looking at for advice. Look at Pearl. She's never even been in a relationship. I think it's been one, and that wasn't even really serious. She's not even married.
She's had three black men who all left her for black women. All the black men left her for black women. I think she has a vengeance against
a long relationship, though.
Yeah, she's been in relationships with black men, and then whatever.
Yeah, there was the last one was
if you look at her answers, her answers don't even make sense when she answers some of the questions. They're not even realistic.
So do you see? Sorry to ask so many questions, but so do you see this? Is this really entertainment? It's not really serious about.
Pearl is a agent provocateur.
It's not serious, it's entertainment.
She is an agent provocateur. That's what she is, and she's there to make more bread than makes it any kind of sense to anybody.
Poetic. What I was saying was just look at it from the sequence of the events, from what went on with the the lockdown and you call it that
well, even before that, because the crux of the matter is that this is like 10 years or more, isn't it?
Can I just answer that question, Poetic?
No, but it's only really come up since, this is what I'm saying, it's only really poked his head and become famous since Kevin Samuels. And I'm saying these are the times in which we've been communicating much more online. There's been more of a discussion about the black man and black woman and mixed race and this and all these different discussions. And I'm saying they're the ones that provided the supposed solution, right? As opposed to us working it out from our black selves, for our black selves. So therefore, they've got the whirlwind and torn our black minds, or these young black minds, or even old black minds away, calling it the Manosphere. And then the black men identifying himself, let's say, as a coon, he now aligns himself and thinks, oh, it's for all men and all women. And somehow they manage to separate and say, well, the black women. Do you get what I'm saying? To diss black women. They don't have a section where you diss white women or Asian or Chinese or whatever. But when it comes to, the black woman, they always want to use the black woman as the negative representation. Do you see what I mean?
Where are the voices that stand up for black women in the Manosphere? Come on, please, let's get to the root. Let's dive in deep.
Can I interject a little bit, please?
Yeah.
There's people out here And unfortunately, it's mainly from an American perspective who are sticking up for black women. Can I name all of them? No, I don't. To be honest, I can't. But there are people out here who are actually trying to find a way in defending their sisters. They're not trying to find a balance. They're not trying to justify anything to do with the manosphere whatsoever. They're just trying to be like, look, most of you guys are sellouts anyway. Do you know what I mean? A lot of these guys, look, numbers are currency. A lot of people play the algorithm, even in the space of the recent xenophobic nonsense, which I won't get into. But if you've been on the internet for more than a decade, especially on the YouTube space, you can kind of see it for what it is. So when this whole idea of the manosphere, especially in the last 2 to 3 years, honestly, for anyone who loves their own race, you'll see it for what it is, and you would have tapped out within a month. The first person for me that spoke about this anti-black woman nonsense was that I actually really recognized was Tommy Sotomayor. Sorry to mention his name, but it was. And I said, this is a very, very dangerous road that a lot of our people are going down, because his fans were not only men, but his fans was like a lot of women as well. And secondly, culturally in the UK, for example, I'm from the South. I'm from Southeast England. I'm from Southeast London even. We got some brothers and sisters that are there who are from up north. Culturally, we're different. I'm speaking from my perspective, not from a collective. My perspective specifically. Culturally, we're different. When it comes to, I guess Americana has ruled my life because I came up in the 80s and the 90s. You know, being as I was born in the late 70s. And I would say I adapted to it. It wasn't hard to kind of recognize it for what it was. And then, you know, the older you get, you can see the layers, the different layers, different. You know, it's like it's like putting a golden wrapper over shit. You know, like even with this country. So I guess my point is that for UK men, it's a different situation. Like we
exactly
we intermix and outside date way more, especially in Europe, than people think we do. In America, for me, I would say over the last 20 to 25 years, it's changed. We, especially from a UK perspective, black men in America were still with their sisters, regardless of the mentality that they had. But that's changing over time. In the UK, we were doing that, and Europe in particular, we're doing that longer. You know what I mean? And when it comes to the love of our people, in particular our women, that's just a spillover from our history. Yeah.
But how is the manosphere in America not as in the?
Hold on, brother. I think because WIM wanted to say something, and Poetic Empress. I don't know if you're because obviously we're leading off your question, so you can still be a part of how you want to, if you're satisfied with the answers or not. But WIM hasn't spoken yet.
Yeah, can everyone hear me? My internet is going. Is really janky on mine. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yeah, you can hear.
All right, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of answer Poetic Empress's question about where's it going and what's happening and all that kind of stuff. So sorry, bear with me like 5 minutes. I'm not going to be on here long. But I suppose my kind of been exposed to the manosphere. Don't think that's been a good thing for sure. But originally, the manosphere's purpose was to help men understand female nature. That was the primary purpose of it. So it started off as men's rights activists. This is ages ago, and a lot of the topics were about. You could say MGTOW content, so how men should operate themselves in this current world with feminist agenda, divorce courts. They were the massive topics that were preeminent in the space. So a lot of the topics were about how men should act in this current world and what they should do. This included self-improvement. This included things such as not making women your priority. This included a lot of these other topics like that. So that was the original intent of the manosphere. It really, that's how they put it, just put that clear, as to helping men go on their journey, because they know that especially these type of men have to be also quite clear. These type of men weren't getting the kind of reception that they probably thought they deserved from the women that they wanted. So it was like, okay, what can these men do? They've been, I don't know, screwed by the system. They've had a bad time with women, child divorce, divorce courts, alimony, child support. So these men coming together and say, this is the situation that's going on. How do we help educate men to understand these are the potential pitfalls that you deal with? So the idea was to help men understand those basic things. Now it transitioned because monetization, because we saw a lot of prominent YouTubers, their space changed into, now we're going to, especially in the Black Manosphere, but even both of them, they all do it. How do we almost set women straight on what they think they should want and what we actually want? How do we get women to understand that you aren't the prize? How do we get women to understand that you may think you're a 10, but you're not a 10, you're just this? You should understand that the average man makes this, therefore your asks, your desires are way, way ridiculous. And that was kind of where, especially with Kevin Samuels, he blew up because of that, you know, his famous average at best. And because everyone is not silly, they understand where the money is and the market is, that's how the space transitioned. So now we get to a space now where that is what the space is completely. It's all about talking to women as opposed to talking to men about what, I suppose, where they're going wrong in how they treat men, what they want, etc., etc. And then in terms of the future of the space, it's really going to be more of the same, if not probably just gets a little bit worse. It's gone from helping men in terms of how to navigate life. That's what it's supposed to be, navigating life, not just women. And now it's just all about talking to women and basically, you know, letting them humiliate themselves on YouTube. So that's where the views are at. So there's not really a direction in terms of where it's going to help. That's not really what's going on. It's only going downward spiral. So that's kind of really where the space is, how I see it and where it's going to go. It ain't going to go anywhere positive. It's not going to turn, you know, have a 180 and all of a sudden it's going to have this kumbaya moment where us men should talk about business. Us men should talk about, you know, housing. Us men should talk about coming to, no, it ain't going to be like that. Even though they do claim they do talk about that, that's not really what people tune in for. It's all entertainment, just to hear women be disrespected on YouTube.
More or less.
Okay, thank you.
I can't say nothing to that.
Thanks for that, brother. Any other questions, sister? Anyone you want anything?
No, I'll drop down. Thank you. Thanks very much, Rap Raven.
Of course, you're always welcome. And it's always good to hear the sisters. Obviously, this is an ongoing talk with this manosphere, and I think it's something we should be tackling maybe next week as well, because usually when we touch it, there's a lot of questions that people have. And
yeah, I have plenty more, but I'll leave it for now.
and hopefully you can join us next week at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because we need sisters to lead, because unfortunately we're trying to, one of the goals is to get Black men motivated or aware of the shortcomings of the community and what should be done to fix it and how we can fix challenges. And I think sometimes we get easily deceived. Did someone say something?
Raven, sorry to interrupt. I want to sort of pose a question, because I only want to stay here for a few minutes and drop off.
Of course.
But there's something I've noticed. I know we talk about, you know, why are UK Black men on this? But there's one thing I've noticed between the two groups, between over here and then over there in the US. While the US Black men may be a lot more polarizing, they seem to, this is just my opinion, if they had the choice, they would be with a Black woman. I know people may disagree with that, but if they had a choice, they would be with Black women. Whereas over here, there's a bit of a difference where I think a lot more Black men, if they had their choice, it would be different. And I think they have a different stance on just pro-Blackness and just, I don't know.
Agreed.
I just think certain things over here is a little bit more subtle, insidious, and we don't talk about it until it gets too late. I think someone mentioned
that's very true. I think it's very fair.
Major point.
I think, but don't forget as well, there are more Black women obviously dating out of the community as well, and that has been for a good while. I think the big difference here is that when Black men started dating out, obviously Black women get side-eyed that situation, but they quietly did their own thing as well. Whereas in the US, because of the historical background, which is a bit different, they really are having a bit of a tug of war, a love-hate sort of relationship, and really they do love each other. Whether they will get back to that place of being together, I'm not sure. But I think here we've always had that easy opportunity to be separate because it's a different social setting that we're living in. So it doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, I'd like to talk about that more at another time. But
so
really interesting. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I suppose my follow-up to that would have been, is that why you could say we've more sleepwalked to not understanding, funny enough, white supremacy and colonization because
possibly
of that?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So do we need to be more re-educated? You know, over there, it's really banged hard about what's happened, so you understand exactly the play.
Yes, I think we do.
Now, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I think from like we had it strong here. I think something, I don't know. It was, well, I do know, but I think that's a really sensitive issue, and I don't know if the guys will be able to handle it. I think there was faults on both sides, but I think it's a shame what's happened. But one of the questions I was going to ask was, is it too late though? Because yeah, we could talk about the possibilities of re-education, but it really does feel like a lot of Black men, they don't see the Black community as their community, in quotes. Do you know what I mean? We've got to that place. Sorry,
I'm glad you said that, and this is because this is where our show goes week to week. It's probably the least popular topic, but it's a topic that we have to cover. And my area of interest at this particular point is Black men, because historically it's men who's meant to build. So we try to cover philosophies to wake up Black people. So one thing that we've observed is that Caribbean men, and as well as African men, but more so Caribbean men, or the Black community in general, has the highest dating out and marrying out in the UK. And it's quite, I mean, they're saying the numbers might be anywhere from 60 to 80%, who knows, something like this, right? So it's about actually highlighting, and this is the controversial bit, the collectively inadequacy of Black men. And I think sometimes what happens is we have to really highlight that. We have to, when you have Black men who really, really want to jump on and promote how they really found a white woman, we have to say, well, actually, what you've done is you're taking a product of a white man, as in you appreciate the hard work he's done to make his daughter or women desirable, but you haven't done that for your community, for your daughters. You have done no marketing, no campaign, no ownership, and also one thing we talk about is we break down the two. It's on the screen at the moment. What are the two major methods of mistreating, marginalizing, and massacring Black people? And we've identified two as degradation and separation is what the Caribbean and America were used to, meaning they separate us and they give us the worst part and they forbid us from interacting with them. But the second one, what happened in the Americas and the Arab countries, was what we call gentle genetic genocide, where what you do is you let them breed them, you let us breed ourselves out, meaning you make us marry your daughters, whatever it might be, and those daughters marry the sons and so forth. Before you know it, you have what they call racial whitening, and all this is an economic and biological kind of assault to make sure that by a certain generation, Black people will definitely own nothing because they won't exist. And I think it's safe to say that in the UK, with being 4% or whatever it is of the population, we're observing that. Well, and I think I did a diagram here to show what that looks like. I think I did. I can't remember. Oh, yeah. So this is when we look at this, as in we give examples of historical people who had wealth, but they lost it.
Or mixed race.
Yeah, as in, well, they're not mixed race anymore. They're officially white people. As in,
wow.
The white man says that if you get the darkest person from Africa, you give it, I think it's 4 generations, then we will consider that person white again, and they'll be able to have the privileges that white people have. So this particular method is used in the Brazils, and this is why in Argentina it was very successful to have literally to no Black people left, because the philosophies was let them destroy themselves. So I'm saying, as a marketing campaign, historically we've always talked about the first way of mistreating Black people, which was degradation and separation. We're very familiar with that, like with Jim Crow and these kinds of things. But I'm saying now the new form of assault is gentle genetic genocide. And this is also connected to economics, meaning when they get rich, have them marry our daughters. You see? And when you look at things like presidents of Europe, you'll find all of them married to European women. But when you look in Africa, you find there's a few of them married to European women. And those European women are actually from the colonizing countries that destroyed the country historically. So I'm saying we should promote Black men as collectively inadequate, as in we're not as good at working as a team as white men. And I've also done some diagrams here. And I know people might think this is very controversial stuff, but actually, when you're playing chess, this is what you need. So this is the analogy of, if you look at the screen, those who have a screen, this is what we call Black Country Rangers. It's a fake team of all the best black football players allegedly today. Give or take. Now, in theory, if this team was in the Premier League, they would probably win it in theory, right? But what's actually going to happen is they're going to start playing like this on the next screen. Can you see it? They'll be off the field. They'll be the goalkeeper will be up front. The striker will be, we're talking to the white women in the stands, where it might be, right? And that's actually what we have. So we let black people know that individually we're very, very talented, but collectively we're inadequate. And we push on the men more so than the women, because it's the responsibility of men to build. So whenever a black man talks about interracial dating, you have to let them know, I get it, because the white man is better at building his community. That's why you want to go live in there. You have to always spell that out. You're being kind and correct, but actually, this ain't propaganda. It's actually the truth.
But Raven, can I say this?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this, that you're gonna lose most black men with that talking point right there. So I'll be honest with you, most, and this is from what I've heard and what I've engaged with a lot of black people, because this isn't just black men, black women as well. It's two things. Black men think that they're being assaulted or assailed because of their
victims,
dating preferences, and they aren't going to want to hear anything you said after that, even if everything else is completely legit, even if helping each other is fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but they don't want to hear anything like that at all.
I agree.
You're going to lose a lot of.
I agree, and that's why so everything you say there should be a follow up to, right? How you have to do is you have to and this is where another controversial thing comes from. You talk about what I describe as the open door elite. It's very important. What does that mean? That means historically the word elite has made people be very scared, because they feel that in order for you to be an elite person, you have to be born into something or have lots of money given to you. Okay, well, I'm saying that we can give black men the choice to be part of the black elite, meaning the people who are the vanguard of making a change. All right, and the choices they make is they have to practice two things: utility and unity. Okay, this is what it is. Right now, black love is a primary, right? Is a primary, and if a person doesn't promote or want to do that, I go to the next thing. We either work with or on the behalf of. We will always be working on the behalf of all black people. We won't necessarily be able to work with. Now, once again, this conversation becomes powerful if black men say it. Unfortunately, black women have been leading the charge in highlighting the inadequacies of not being with a black woman. But that role should actually come by black men. Yeah. The reason why black men are marrying black women, are marrying non-black women at a high rate, is because of the failure of black men. You see, we are not.
Where were you getting this from, Rafa?
Let's break it down. Let's break it down. This is good. Let's break it down.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. I was trying to say something when the other brother coming. Hold on. I'm gonna forget my thing. Hold on. Let's say, for instance, let's say I've written the Black Man's Neglect. I can't remember what it's called. Neglect and Failure Manifesto. Right. I've got a whole list of what he should have done, and basically, black men are collectively responsible for all the failures in the black community. Right. But that's, let's say, what I would put from the level of a proper examination on what we need to do. What would you say is the black women's part in this? Even if we say it's the black man's fault of his neglect
I'm going to be very honest with you. Here's what it is. How leadership works, and I'm not going here to offend men or women, right? It is men who create the environment. It's men who create the structure, right? Now, it's men who do that kind of marketing campaigning. Wait.
I agree.
I know. But what I'm saying is, I'm saying that in order for us to become stronger, for a certain amount of time, we must no longer talk about black women and talk about black men, because women tend to fall in line in ideas that make sense.
Agreed. 100%, brother. Listen.
So if a man builds, hold on, brother. If a man builds something that's efficient, women will follow.
We know.
Absolutely.
But hear what I'm saying. That's part of the manifesto. Men need to do this. What I'm saying is, when you put that there, these brothers, the masses are not going to listen to you when they've got all of these. Hold on, wait. Hold on, brother. Hold on. This statistical data of information and their own personal experiences and the bombardment of channel after channel after channel of how black women are doing this, and this one cheated and took his house and his kids and move someone else, and all this other stuff that we've got. So when you're talking even about the elites, we've got some of the rich elites, and then this black woman divorced man took his money and blah 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 blah. So the point I'm making is that discussion. I personally agree with you, right? That men need to just man up, take responsibility. When we build our thing, they will naturally say, you know what, I can actually be on the par with you. I'm gonna play my role, you play your role, because you're actually being a man. Okay.
Here's the thing. The
manosphere is an emasculated, effeminate thing.
Questions.
Sorry.
But Rockwoven, because it starts younger though, because it's all right talking about, you know, the older men who have got the divorces, the separations, the bad relationships, the trauma, blah blah blah. At what age, approximately, do you think can this type of more positive behavior being instilled into black men? Because it starts before they leave, you know, high school, doesn't it? What can
they can walk. From they can walk, you teach them the masculine things that they're supposed to be doing. From they can walk.
Can I just say this though, and just to be fair and balanced here, there are legitimate things that take place which is not the man's fault and the man just becomes a victim of. I know we probably don't want to hear it like that. And that's why the manosphere is so powerful. It's become a lot more powerful because and obviously this is no disrespect to you, Raven, but when you put the full onus on the man, you do take away a situation where, again, a woman can divorce you and it's not your fault. A woman can
you're not stepping into the shoes of leadership. And women are sick of hearing these excuses. You've got to be 100% into leadership. We are absolutely sick to the backside of these excuses. It's pathetic. Now, come on.
Wait, hold on.
These excuses don't work.
Let me speak and then everyone can jump in.
All right.
Well done, brothers and sisters.
Rap, let me control the channel. Just step down a bit, please. 5 minutes.
We'll give it 4 seconds. Hold on, fam.
Raven controller thing.
Yeah. So here's what it is. We're talking about similar things from different angles, and this is important, right? Yeah. I think the brother raised the angle, a question, sorry, which is important. Let me make it more clear. I'm pushing a strategy of men talking to men and women talking to women. We tried to do it for weeks back, and that's why I say the problem is we're going to trigger many anxieties. So the fear is that there's going to be anxiety triggers. But from my observation, actually, where the trigger comes from, it comes from men talking to women and then women talking to men, and then this kind of divide that seems to be already pre-made. So the solution is we have certain sections, right? I say, as men, we should talk to men about men things. Now, the reason I say this is because a lot of the women have observed that whenever we get together and we talk about building, all of a sudden we get a circular notion about how bad some women are. And I'm saying that from whether it's right or wrong, let us demonstrate that we can get together and talk about men things, stick on the men topics, right? And also have a harsh look at ourselves. I'm always going to be aware that the history and the current pushing of white supremacy is going to be the primary factor of why so many black men are collectively inadequate. All right. However,
Raven, sorry to cut. I have to. Go ahead. I think sometimes this is where I think people are missing the point.
Go ahead.
We're not saying that men shouldn't take responsibility, men shouldn't lead, men shouldn't have a look at themselves. What we're just saying is this is why this space was a niche space, because it was a group of men who, for one set of purposes, have done the right thing, and they had been, for whatever reason, played by the system, or they've been wronged. And those men were coming together to speak on those things. It obviously blew up to something completely different. I get that, but there are legitimate situations in life that takes place, and this is gender not specific, but talk about the men right now, in which, you know what, there are things which, okay, that's wrong. And by putting all the onus on the men, by saying it's all the man's fault, that's where you're going to lose a lot of men.
So when we say something's all the man's fault, I'm not talking. So the manosphere and this woman, I think Sister Sankover wants to join in. I know if someone can drop out to let her in, but I'm
gonna drop off in a second. I'm gonna drop off, so because my internet is playing up.
I'll drop off too. I have so many questions, but I can drop off too.
Hold on.
You can't be getting nowhere.
We will be ending the show pretty soon, maybe in 11 minutes or so, and we will continue.
Oh, bruv.
Hold on. The reason why, because we get a limited time of this thing, so we have to. We get 2 hours, right? But what it is is this is important because the dynamic between black men and black women, this has been highlighted, and what Brown Sister is saying is very important. Yeah, but I'm more talking about strategies, and the strategy I'm talking about is ever so slightly bigger than the manospheres and the shortcomings of that. It's generally how, as black men, we should be operating when it comes to the concept of building and ownership, and the failure to do so. We've seen this now. There's genuine concerns between how black men are and black women are, right, or just men, women in general, and we can tackle those. But I'm saying we want to paint a picture of black men actually building and doing something and being strong within ourselves before we start mentioning the follies or shortcomings of black women. You see, because that's
100%.
what seems to be all this. So let us, because if we can demonstrate building at a certain level for a consistent rate, then your grievances will be heard because like these are the builders, yeah, and they come to because they've built something and they're consistent with it, so they listen. But we never want to have a show where the women end up thinking one way and the men thinking and the other way, and that's where we're at. That's why I always have to talk against what most men naturally feel. Now, listen, if you're a man and you feel a way about blame or responsibility, yeah, then you have to keep coming to the show to learn how to deal with it, right? Because with a person like me, I identify two types of black people or Africans, right? There's the conquering African and the conquered African, or the conquering black person or the conquered black person. What that means is when a conquering person realizes that something's not right, the first thing they want to do is conquer and make it right. So they can acknowledge that they're losing 3-0 because they know it's half time and they're going to score 4 goals. But the conquered person will look at 3-0 and go, you know what? What's the point of even playing? We're 3-0 down. So when I talk this way, I'm trying to connect with the conquering African or the conquering black person. All right. So I'm going to highlight many shortcomings that us black men have so I can work with what I'm defining as the new black elite to try to fix them. But complaining about complaining will never get anywhere.
Right. What it is, just the fact that you can acknowledge, yeah. So when men are talking, as long as you can acknowledge that this is part of the problem and you've heard both sides, then we can move forward. Because I totally agree with you. No matter what, we're the men. We haven't done our job.
No.
We failed in our duty in so many areas, and that is why. So I was actually going to there was a sister on Instagram. I was going to give her this manifesto, which would be a response. So any black man that claims, black women aren't doing their thing, just show them this, and they will be silenced for time. Because all these the first thing is, remember the conquerors of the past. One of the reasons why they became kings is because they could unify their people first, that allowed them to conquer other people. We can't even unify our youth, our black youth, although we've got so many enemies left, right, and center. That would be one of the first things to prove your men. Unify your black youth first.
You can't even do that. You need a code. You need one thing that everybody is aiming to, whether you like each other or not. There needs to be a one code that everybody follows. And I'll just quickly say, loose example. You see, the Asians have been able to function in a white society, but still do their own thing. And we need to be able to do the same. And I know, and we know we can do it better. But like you said, because there's this, everybody is trust. A lot of it is down to the old, we know what the issues are. But it would be beautiful if ever we see in our lifetime to see a unified black community. That would be something that, as rappers outlined, would be a beautiful thing to see. And here's what I wanted to say. The main thing is, men, women don't want to see you fail. They want to see you win. They want to see you win. They are sick and tired of seeing you fail. They want to see you win. And I'll finish my point on that positive note. They want to see you win.
Thank you, sister. And before before we said, we will be shutting the show down soon, but the next show might be something like, does the Black Manosphere highlight the inadequacies of black men? It'll be some kind of
is there a Black Manosphere first? It doesn't even exist.
These questions I push forward is to actually start the conversation to end, because remember, there's always a goal. The goal is for constructive black men to work together to fix the black community. That's always been the goal. And then amongst the black sistering, they will have their goal to fix the black sisters and on the shortcomings that many black sisters might go through. But I'm saying as a strategy, Let's have the optics of black men talking about black men for a continuing amount of time, rather than black men talking about black women. You see?
No, brother, 100%. I don't tell you, innit? We need to have more discussions where black men oppose each other in ideology, but we show respect and etc. And again, more imagery of black women and black men achieving based upon supporting each other in their roles in these things. So 100%, bro.
I said sometimes what I need to do more is when I say things, I need to also highlight the strategy behind it. Because sometimes I say things and I've lived this reality for so long that it's not hard hitting, but to an average person, it's very hard hitting some of the things I say. And I'm saying that I see a value in highlighting shortcomings to try to root out the conquerors amongst our people. Because once you get those conquerors, they will reverse the shortcomings. Yeah. If you look at Rome, at one time it was high, the next time it was low. If you look at Britain, it was high, low. Every nation goes up and down, right? Yeah. So today you're high, tomorrow you're low. So always see the things I'm saying as the halftime pep talk. It isn't the full-time pep talk. It's we're 3-0 down, but we need to know we're 3-0 down. Because if we think we're 3-0 up, yeah, what's going to happen is we won't play hard. And if we have black men who are in the 80% are marrying non-black women, and then those children are marrying non-black women, and every time we have a rich black man or rich black people, they marry non-black people, and none of our black men come together to own anything or to have ownership or to actually do any kind of campaigning for ownership, then this is inadequate. Like that's why at one point we should maybe talk to other communities to do that and go, oh yeah, that's what communities do. We've been taught to be subservient, and I'm saying we have to have that adult conversation, and it starts by triggering black people, by letting black people know we're inadequate. However, individually, we're exceptionally skilled. That's why we have great basketball players, singers, rappers, actors, and all that good stuff. But none of those people come together to own the industry that they dominate in as a worker.
But let me just wrap, brother. The problem is the examples you gave are all part of the white supremacy anti-black system, basketball, music, and so on. So to expect them to do other than marrying outside of black doesn't make much sense, to be honest. They won't be the examples. The people that play basketball, rap, sing, all of that, that is an anti-black industry as it stands. I'm not saying it can't be changed and, we can't use it for our own. But I'm saying that the goal that they're looking for is the white American dream. You got there by stepping on your black people.
Brother, let's make it easier for the people listening. Just say everyone on this panel was exceptional at football, right? Exceptional, the greatest the world's ever known. Or we had black Betterment or Pan-African or whatever black B1 in our mind. Yeah, the outcome of what we do will be different. So we know ideologies can influence,
but it's not realistic. Look at Colin Kaepernick or whatever his name is, and this is what I'm saying, bruv. One of the things is the reality of being pro-black. They know what you're trying to do. When you try and whether you kneel down and put your fist up, whatever the hell you're doing, when you start to make money and you start to become pro-black and try to use their avenues to influence your people, buy news channels and all the rest of it, and start to want to make black movies, they know. And they might do you a Michael Jackson and give you some extra tablets, or they might do you a Bill Cosby and do something else.
As long as Chinese, Jewish, Indian people exist, we know it's possible. No, I
not
agree.
at all, because they're just the proxy of white supremacy. They band together. They're all against us. So that's the difference.
Everyone's against black people. We understand this, right? However,
even black people against black people.
Exactly. So it's possible. It's possible because
I'm agreeing with you, brother. I'm agreeing with Raven.
Now, brothers, let's say this. Yeah, let's say this, right? Remember, and it's just for you to think about when you go home and we log off. I'm trying to identify the conquering African or the conquering black person, right? Therefore, meaning I'm pushing forward ideas and things that are black Betterment led. Let us talk with a okay, let's do that. Oh, I understand that. If everything we do is impossible, then that will identify why black people don't do anything. Yeah. If you want to do something, it will happen. I've demonstrated this.
It's not saying it's impossible. I'm saying they're not the examples. That's what I'm saying.
But brother, we're, like I said, if I go for the extreme and I say a football player, we could say a restaurant owner, we could say a street owner, we could say an IT company, we could say an app that unites people. It's like this. I'm
saying when you mention the Asians, if Chinese and these other people could do it, I'm saying The only reason they could do it is because white
regardless of what I
people.
mentioned, we can always find a way to sabotage, right? We can always
We can do it ourselves. We have to, bruv. We have to set the brand new blueprint for us. That's my point. In other words, we can't do anything that they've done the way they've done it because they've had white supremacy supporting.
We would never. But what I'm saying is, it's the ideology, right? And it's actually wanting to find that answer. So if the solution isn't in a football player or in a football team, it could be in writing a book or to own a I don't know. The idea is to find those black people who generally want to do it. And this is the challenge because generally many black people don't actually want to do it. So who are those elite who you want to build with and create by osmosis other people they see these things as natural? The Manosphere demonstrate that you can tap into some people's shortcomings and have them cling together for these ideas that people push forward and these buzzwords. And all power to them. This is campaigning and branding. I'm saying, how do we campaign and brand? Now, the campaign I'm pushing forward is tackling black men's ego because I know men and competition is important. So I say, rather than having black men compete with black women, let's have black men compete with white men. You see?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they leave and go, I want to marry a white woman, give them a high five, say, oh, I get it. You've now you value the white man as your victory. See, he's your victor because he's managed to tame and push his woman in a situation that makes her most pleasant to you.
The chess piece, the queen.
Yeah. So when you think you're winning by leaving the black woman going to the white woman, don't say that way. You're actually going to the daughter of the white man. You see, and so what we do is we don't give you a high five, we give him a high five because he's got you economics. You see? Strategy. Now the thing is, one thing you got to say about me is I've been very consistent with my face and my demeanor when I say this for the many years, and a lot of stuff I see might sound like radical and crazy, but trust me, it actually is a very, very effective strategy. Because when I go to circles, I don't argue about these things we talk about for this sideways back alley talk. It's literally okay. I hear that you're a black man and you don't want to be a black woman, so that means you respect the white man enough to marry his daughter. He's shown you that you want to go and live in his community, right? And everything that you've earned, you're going to give back. And go. That is why we are collectively inadequate because his marketing is superior, and that's why I use words like the white man's marketing of white beauty is superior to the black man's marketing of black beauty, and you can always demonstrate that
temporarily. This is the word we need to use. It is temporarily.
But see, for me, because you see, when I go to spaces and I talk about black love, you're gonna get the kumbayaris who jump in and they've got all the secret weapons to try to shut you down. But the secret weapon is you actually are. I agree with you. The white man is superior to the black man at marketing his own beauty standards. You see,
you're spinning with that, bruv. Hold on, rap. The main thing is, to be honest, have you got someone who's good with making these? What do they call that? CG? What's that? The cartoon type movies. What are they called?
What they call cartoons, aren't they?
No. There's another name for them. The movie, like manga or whatever.
Oh, what you mean CGI anime?
The CGI type thing, right? Where they're more really realistic. So I'm saying, do you know anyone that does that, for example?
Not. I mean, there's a separate topic. There's a new thing called AI animation, but that's just something else where people do.
Because I'm saying, for me personally, I've been talking about this for years and hoping to meet someone. And to be honest, this would cut a lot of what we're doing down very fast. We would put it out there, continuously bombard the place with imagery of pro-black men and women doing various things together, being successful in their agendas and so on. The imagery is what they need to see.
Well, look, let's say this, right? One thing that everyone, because we're going to shut down very soon, one thing we can all do here is most people today are on some kind of social network, where it's Instagram, is that right? There actually are channels that we have vetted that do what they say on the tin. So they might show black love or they might show black economics. So we can actually collate all these lists. Maybe we could do that. Collate a list of things that's important. So love, economics, you name it, right? And what we do is we get actual pages that we've vetted that do these back to back, and then we promote these pages. But we give people maybe a strategy saying, like, okay, we understand that you've got your Instagram page or your Facebook page, right? But we're saying with Instagram you can have more than one page. Make a separate page and call it your name woke or your name black or your name Batman, whatever it might be, right? And in that page, you only follow these black things, right? Right? And you can jump between the two worlds and see the difference. Yeah. So we can.
The two things that have influenced where we are now is movies and music.
Yeah.
That's it. These two things is how we got here today. The culture came from the movies and music.
Right.
So that's what we need.
Yeah,
and
I agree with you. I agree with you. But once again, because that's a longer step, yeah, we're going to do a multitude of things to help us get there, right? So sometimes it's easy.
But why is it a longer step, bro? With the technology we got, I'm saying.
I'm saying movies is a big production, right? For the most
takes
part,
money.
Right? It takes money, and I think we should be doing. We are. I'm saying as we're doing that, listen, bro. As we're doing that, we can actually give tangible steps that we can implement today, tomorrow. Yeah, and that is when a kid, because we're talking about kids, when they go through the Instagram, they're following so much stuff here that's keeping them in that kind of mindset. But there are actual pages and stuff that actually promote Black betterment, Pan Africans, or Black love, how to own a business, or whatever, right? From a Black perspective, if we can collate those pages that are synchronized with our ways of thinking, and then promote those things, as in here's what we want to do, and here's a strategy. Make another page and follow these things. All right. This is one idea of how to get.
Bro, that's not how it works. What they do is they get a song, and then they get a challenge from that song to do a dance or something else, and that now becomes bombarded throughout the whole of TikTok and Instagram. And this is how they target.
Brother Issa, here's what I'm going to say. What you're saying is correct. What you're saying is correct. Before we go, what you're saying is correct. However, what I'm trying to push for the people is there is a multitude of people here, right? We can have a multiple ways of doing certain things. So if you're saying let's have a cartoon, I will support that cartoon. If you're
not
saying
one, bruv, a bunch. I'm saying bare films. It's not what do you call it, CGI? Because I'm saying if it's a movie, bruv, we need a set, we need actors, we need all that.
The thing is easy, and this is just, I'm just being honest, right? I'm a person. I've learned many softwares so I can make things easier for myself, right? I've spent 20 years learning hundreds of softwares, and because I'm a director and I have to make things, I understand the start, middle, and end. That's why every time I say something, it has to be tangibly executable by myself or by people I know. So when we have these big elaborate things, it's like if we're not gonna take part in doing it step by step, it will not get done. So I'm saying I'm going to support it, but then anything you push forward, it has to be led by you. Yeah, because you have to know the ins and outs. So I can say what we need a spaceship, right? But none of us know how to make a spaceship. You know what I mean?
All right, bro. I've come across somebody that does do it, right?
Bring them here. Bring them here. Because it's like this. I have a set of skills. You have a set of skills. We can work together. But the thing is, we can push forward ideas, and we should push forward ideas because we can push out to the community.
My point is, they're not on the pro-black thing. They've shown me what they do. No, bro. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying the fact that they now have free, what do you call it, the free apps or pro, whatever it is. I'm saying for you as a person that's doing all of these things I keep seeing on the screen, I'm saying it seems to be a lot more easier to make the movies now. That's what I'm saying. So in a day, you could make a whole movie. That's what it seems.
Mate, I've trust me, you ain't making a movie no day. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. No, I'm saying according to the thing I've seen, it looks. Stop laughing. Edit that bit out. It looked like it.
No day.
Yeah. What I'm saying is we have easier options before we get there, right? And I'm saying social media really is those easy options. For example, once again, I'm talking tangible. You can have things where you show Supermote, and then next to Supermote is the white man that owns it, and then Megamote or whatever it is, and next to the Megamote is a picture of the black man that owns it. You have a slogan, "Buy Black," right?
Yeah.
And then all someone has to do is press save. Now I can personally make that on Photoshop, and someone can personally find the information to find out who owns what, and then we can personally put that on the Instagram. For example, the one we have here, I've made an Instagram page for Black Betterment Building. Yeah, matter of fact, everyone should be following that. Yeah, if you're not following the Black Betterment Building, let me get the team to put in it. Right, follow it, because all these ideas you're talking now, these pages have been set up to where's it should be in the book, right? Hold on, where's that book?
Brother, listen. Anything we want to do.
I need to. I'm gonna jump off.
Yes.
So I'm just going to say, give thanks again for a powerful show. Big up the panel, big up the sister. and her questions. Even though
send to you.
Even though my sister, this space isn't sincere where you're coming from, and there's dishonesty there. But the main thing I want to emphasize is what Raven is saying. We start where we stand. Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say that again?
No, you're not being dishonest, sis. I'm saying the space is dishonest. So you're asking genuine questions. Yeah. But because there's a lack of dishonesty with self, they can't give you honest answers. Do you understand what I'm saying? So again, so you're not gonna get what you're looking for. Do you get what I'm saying? But I'm gonna emphasize and stand on what Raven is saying when he's talking about him challenging brothers, and it's about sisters dealing with sisters. Yeah, because we as women, we as Black women, we've got work to do. Yeah, it's not a little bit of work. Do you understand? Yeah. But Black men have work to do. And the moment every time he talks about accountability, yeah, and he talks about looking at self, there's back talking. There's back talking. Yeah?
No, because you're not listening properly though.
Back the point there. And then every single time he says it, there's a whole heap of back talking from a one-said individual in here. But the point I'm making is that's the
who's that? Who's that? No, you got the wrong person there.
But the point I'm making, that's the general mindset. So the same way us as sisters,
that's for sure.
The same way us as sisters have issues because we're not taking levels of our accountability.
Me neither.
It's on the space when brothers are gonna say, we're not even brothers. When we say let's say on that side, there's justifiable reasons, marriages that don't work out, crazy baby mothers, whatever. The same is on the other side. Do you understand? But the point is that we have to grow and we have to keep continuously reflect and be accountable for our choices, even when it might be you feel that this was totally out of my control. You still are responsible for your healing process. Do you understand? The healing process doesn't mean fire and brimstone on the opposite sex. The same way, like you're saying, and I stand on what you're saying, sister. We want to see our Black men succeed. Of course, we want to see them succeed because we succeed. When you're cussing out the Black woman, these same brothers are gonna hail up Malcolm X, and all that. Malcolm X said, "We're not moving no higher than our women." Yeah, we die for our women. We wouldn't manage Malcolm X today because we have some very low self-esteem men and women amongst us. But we're dressing man right now, and there's a lot of manosphere is predominantly about lack of knowledge of self, lack of low self-esteem, lack of racial pride and dignity, and a lack of accountability. Yeah, that's the bottom line. And we're going to talk about, we need to do this and all that. Everything that Raven says in the media level, I agree with. But the beginning point is accountability.
No, this is we can't deny this. Let me jump in here. And the thing is, with the strategy I'm pushing forward, many men, Black men.
To be honest, listening and comprehension is before even the accountability.
There you go. Well, let me finish.
If you don't,
you're absolutely correct, and you're showing that plentiful today.
Yes.
Brothers and sisters, this to the men. This to the men, right? What I've observed is many Black men, whenever criticism comes our way, there's a defense mechanism. I've observed this, right? And I'm trying to develop a way to tackle through it. So the example I give is this: I want you to imagine your Pele. Yeah, Michael Jordan, who's the greatest in their field, right? Yeah, but even though you're Pele, Michael Jordan, your team are not that. They're like infants. Yeah, so as good as you might be, yeah, you're going to lose. Yeah, so a criticism will come towards your team. Yeah, now when we criticize the team, we're not trying to criticize. We're not saying that Pele and Michael Jordan ain't good, but you cannot be a lone star on a team. It has to be a team effort. So the way you got to see is take it for the team. Know that your willingness and your skills is high, but the team as a whole has failed. So it isn't on you, it's on your team. As what could you do with the team to win? You see, there should be no defense mechanism about how to win as a team.
Right, Raven. The problem is a lot of what you're saying seems to be from somebody that studied the warfare as opposed to being in the warfare, and that's what I'm saying. So when this thing about demanding rebellion or opposing what you're saying, it's not that, because it's a thorough acknowledgement that it's all on the men. The fault is on the men. However, for the men to understand their role, naturally, if they've got any sense, they're going to be saying, well, what about this? What about this? And that needs to be answered. You don't need to actually argue with the women and so on, but it needs to be answered so that they can understand themselves in relation to their queens. Do you understand? So what is the problem? Well, because you didn't do this and you haven't laid these foundations and haven't done this, the woman's nature, the black woman's nature has responded this way. Do you understand? Because they're going to see, they've got personal examples that are hurtful in their lives. Yeah. So when they're saying that, what we have to deal with is, yes. And that is because we didn't do this. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I mean,
yeah.
We're talking on the same page, bro. We're talking on the same page.
No, because you're labeling it. What did you just say? Whenever you say men say what? What did you say? Men say men. Whenever you come up with accountability, you say that men do what?
No, what I'm saying is whenever we talk about the team, the collective team being inadequate, right? In order not to trigger men, how we let them know is as an individual, i.e. Michael Jordan, you could.
No, not that bit. You said about whenever you say something, men respond with something. The sister said the same thing.
Oh, defense. So defense
mechanism. Right, that's what I'm saying. It's not a defense.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. If I'm talking about black men as a collective, and an individual black man gets hurt, then he hasn't got the psychological training needed to understand how teamwork works. Yeah. And that's why I'm giving examples of Pele, who's the greatest footballer of all time. But if he played for a rubbish team, he would lose. Yeah. So that's my point. So I want you to feel like Pele when I'm talking about football, but you play for Ackley's and Stanley, whoever, the lowest team of all time. Yeah. And it's about you understanding you play for the worst team of all time, and you have to work with them to become better.
I don't think you get it. I'm saying we on the panel, men might understand that, but when we're putting up points on behalf of others, and then we get sisters coming in and saying the disingenuous and the non-honest and all this kind of nonsense. And even you saying we're defense, like it makes no sense.
Brother. This is a chat. Remember, chest. I'm challenging black men on this panel to talk about black men issues only, and because we have times where black women come on this panel and they talk about black women issues, and there's no men there. So I'm saying that is a strategy, right? Because in the manosphere and in other spaces, it hasn't been observed. It's every 10 seconds a woman's name is coming up. So I'm saying
but brother, you have to be fair. Sister is asking the question relative to female thing. If it's all like you say, this is about what. Here's the problem, men. What are you going to do about it?
Brother,
you don't have to mention women.
Black men don't own industry. Yeah, we don't have philosophies. Yeah, that were executed at a mass rate that unites us and has ownership. We're losing versus the other people group in these areas. Yeah, so I'm saying when you talk to many black men, they don't even know that the whistle's been blown. That's even something that people do because many of us are in a subservient state. So we're trying to highlight other people. And I'm using their discrepancies, like leaving the community to go, okay, so you're working for the Asian man. So you understand that.
No, brother. I'm saying by using men on the panel who have already acknowledged that, I'm saying that doesn't fare well for the listeners nor for the people on the panel. That's what I'm saying is to acknowledge it's our fault, but then to speak on behalf of the brothers that would need to hear a bit more of the information of how they got into the problem they're in, where you need to speak on the collective. I'm saying that there because otherwise people just shut off, bruv. That's what I'm saying.
But brother, I've really you would have, like I said, I have a PDF here as well as a whole lot of documentations talking about what I'm talking about. If you have anything to add to it, by all means, as long as it's constructed with black people, right? So if that's the area, so I'm going to do these things. I'm going to assist in these areas. But if you feel there's something that I personally am falling short from, by all means, you can take over and lead in that area. So if you need to take a black man who's identified as defeated and give them pep talks and stories of greatness, do that. Yeah. But what I'm saying is I'm very clear that I'm looking for what is described as the conquering black person, right? Because I'm aware that an entire community could be led by as small as 1 to 10%. I'm aware of that. If you get the elite of from 1 to 10%,
that's how it's worked in the past, brother. It's generally that anyway.
Here's what it is. Unfortunately, some people will have to lose. But what we can do is we create a scenario where people are competing. So I'm saying, here's how you become part of the elite. Here's the philosophies you need to stand with us and build. Here's what's going to make you prosper. Here's the code you have to follow to be a part of that building custodian stuff. And then what happens? You create something that's people have to try to get there. You have to work on yourself.
Okay. So let me just say within that,
rather than a philosophy that says everyone can win.
No, brother, hold on. So if that's the case, then the conversation, once you're talking about the elite, then it has to be known the conversation is about the elite and not about the general masses of blacks. It's as simple as that, because it keeps going from elite to masses and back and forth and back and forth. So this is why we can't answer for the masses. And then
I'm saying this. I try to make it clear.
Yeah.
I'm talking about custodians. I'm talking about black men who are the conquering class, right? What are we doing to build stuff, right? And that's why I try to go on the tangible level, as in what kind of campaigns, what kind of ideologies we're pushing forward. All right. Now, we like some people in the manosphere space we're talking, they're defeated. So they're like in a war where we have casualties. And to them, we are kind, innit? But a lot of those men will not be able to sit on a panel with us because every 7 seconds they're going to want to bring a white woman. Yeah?
No, but they're supposed to take commands, bro. That's my point. They take commands. They follow whichever way the front is going. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If we're having a conversation about the elite, then let's keep it that way. But my point is, we shouldn't start off with elite, then make it masses, and then when we respond to the masses, you then squeeze it into elite, and then our responses are interpreted in really different ways. I'm just saying it creates a bad vibe. And
what I'm saying is the consistency. Remember, everything I say is consistent in the sense of I'm saying I'm within the black community, and I want the black community to win. And everything I do is black led. And then when someone kicks back, goes, "Is that racist? That bad?" I go, not to worry, because we are hated and we have been destroyed by so many people that it's necessary for us to come together and try to fix this. Who wants to do that? Yeah. So it's like we can't keep being on the back foot. At a certain point, we have to be aware of what's going on. We're losing in all races, and we're hated by all races. Yeah. Right. So it's like,
again, when you say that, you're talking about the collective. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. But what I'm saying is, I'm talking about the collective, and I'm trying to spark the elite to make a decision. I can't speak for every single man, because remember the philosophy. There's some people I work with, and some people I work on behalf of. You see. So in Speaker's Corner, I do pro bono work in it. So I'll help people out. But the pro bono work I do is because they're black. But when it comes to actual building and ownership, a lot of the brothers and their ideologies won't be able to stand with me, because they're unsynchronized with any kind of a B1, Black Betterment, Pan-African, pro-black, anything, right? So it's irrelevant. But remember, one of the main things I'm really pushing, and it's very controversial, is that we black people, when it comes to working as a team, are inadequate. Do you understand? It's very important. Like, for me, it's one of the most important things that black people can learn. That Rap Raven is saying that when it comes to working as a team, we're inadequate.
Temporarily.
What I'm hoping to happen is that there's a massive of black people go, "You're wrong. You're so wrong." That we're
and they prove you right. Yeah, they prove you wrong.
They don't. Because what happens is we've been learned to be emotional. But I know about the two classes, the conquering and the conquered. Dare I say I'm a conquering? It should, who knows? But what I'm saying is this, right? Because I know about the two classes, the same way some people responded, the conquering come up to me privately and they go, "Brother, let's build." Yeah. Like I can list the 20 different things that's wrong with our community, and they go, "Cool, I can do this, let's do that." They never say, "You know what, bro? It's a downhill struggle. I'm just going to marry a white woman." They say, "Bro, let's build. Let's build." Right?
That's what happens.
Can I ask a question? Just a quick question.
Go ahead, sister.
In your opinion, was there ever a time that you thought the black community was near to its true and real potential?
No.
Right. Yeah.
But from a historical standpoint, I can see pockets all around the world where betterment was achieved, and we use those as templates to recreate. But for me, from a man standpoint, because I have to talk to men, it is really important that the black community know we're lost. We have to know that, yeah. And I know that can destroy some people's self-esteem. And how you build your self-esteem goes. You individually are Michael Jordan. You're the best in the field. However, you're not passing the ball. You're shooting from the halfway line. You're in the bench talking to white women. So we're not going to win. Yeah. But when we actually start getting on code and work as a team, we have, and that's why I'm going to show it before we leave. Yeah.
Actually, yes, we did with Elijah Muhammad, sister. We had it with Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, that's the pockets I'm talking about. These are the pockets I'm talking about, right? And obviously, yeah.
Nation
yeah.
Islam.
So look, this is black people when we work together. Yeah, these black people when we don't. Powerful team, yeah. Powerful team, not so powerful team, but it's the same people. So we know they're skillful and can win championships, but if they don't work together, see. So how you can maintain your egos or maintain your self-esteem is know that individually you're probably the most skilled person on the planet. But if you don't value teamwork, you're gonna score own goals. Does it make sense? Makes sense, right? That's the philosophy. Teach that we're collectively adequate but individually skilled. Yeah. And I challenge any black man, because I'm a man talking to men, yeah, to build either with me or in your own custodian group, yeah, and push B1 Black Betterment as a primal and have ownership. Yeah. But until I see that, the philosophy stands that we black people are collectively adequate, and it's a very effective strategy and the most successful one I've ever done. There you go. Cool. All right, so guys, we're going to end now, but we will continue next week with some kind of Manosphere, our black man inadequate kind of thing that will gets people revved up. They come to defend themselves. They end up that maybe it's true. Then we work together. So
one sec. Is G Block on? Because if we can continue this on G Block, is G Block still on?
What does G Block mean? What does that mean?
G Block, Veli's channel, Veli G Block. If it's still on, I want to continue this with Empress, Dominic, and Razor.
Yeah, well, give me the link. Give me
Whose channel.
If Veli G, I can't. That's what I'm saying. I can't find it. Basically, I can only stay on this. I can't get another page open. It's called Veli G Block.
And are they talking about black men?
No, but I'm saying he's invited us on so we can talk about what we want. I think they are actually. They're talking about what's her name, the same.
What kind of channel is it? Is it for
discussion on anything, any subject? But I'm saying it's been this thing here so far. What's her name? Sarah and the Dutty girl.
Well, I'm going to close the show down. I'm happy to. I mean, I don't know if it's not a pro-black kind of.
Bruv, I'm saying we take over the conversation, innit? That's what I'm saying.
Well, give us the link, innit? Because I don't know.
Where's the link in the chat?
I can't. What I'm saying is, I'm only on this page. If I come off this page, I'm gonna have to restart.
How do you spell it? How do you spell it?
VELLE space G block. G space block. Isa then what's that? How do you spell that? Tokuwu.
Okay, so I think I see it. Hold on.
Is it on? Yeah.
Is it G? Yeah, is it live?
You know Veli, come on now.
Yeah, I think he's playing Bashman or something. I don't know.
Sorry, how do you spell that again?
VELLE space G space block. Hey, King Kelly, is it on? Yeah, is he still live? Because he sent me a link, but I've been on here. So
VELLE
space G space and then block.
I think it's.
You know when you say space, is it like a minus sign or?
No. Just as in space bar.
Okay.
I think it's this.
Is that it there? Yeah.
Is that it? Okay, cool.
I think.
Please come over there. Let's get because I'm up now, so you know what I mean. My engine started. I still got bare petrol in my tank. I mean, I finished yet. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Rob, for a really good stream. Thank you, panel. Really enjoyed it.
If you could join
Have
next
a weekend.
Yeah, join next week.
Yes, Kushti, he did. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Everyone, I posted it in there, guys. I'll put it again. And feel free. If you're gonna go there, try to be constructive and promote Black Betterment. I have no idea what they're talking about, but brother wants to make a Black Betterment.
I've told you, man. That's the subject, bro. Come on.
Okay, take care, guys.
Blessings. Take care. Thanks for the show, bro. People. Bless.
Have a good one, family.